What's up and welcome to Project Video Game Podcast Roundtable. This is a monthly series where I'm joined by a larger panel of guests. This week I have Mark Rode.
Hiya.
Josh Heckman.
Hello.
Zach Ryther.
What's up?
And Mark Williamson.
Hello.
So, we have a really great topic to start off our first roundtable, and that's this year's E3. E3 got kicked off by somebody who didn't quite bring it last year. I would even say they probably should have stayed home. And from the first, I don't know, 3 minutes of this year's presentation, I kind of wish they had stayed home this year, but they managed to turn it around and pull it out. And I'm talking about EA.
Yeah. That was definitely an interesting conference.
When they started off with that Tom Brady band, I just about turned off my
Tom
stream.
Brady band?
Yeah. You didn't notice that every single one of the members of the marching band that they brought out were wearing Tom Brady jerseys?
No, I didn't. Actually.
Yeah, that would be for
They got him on discount.
Well, he's the best-selling jersey there is.
Oh, alright.
I mean, I don't mind seeing Tom Brady on a jersey, but that's
I
because
do,
I'm a
that
Giants.
sucks.
I'm a Giants fan, and every time I see Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, it makes me smile. Only if he's playing against the Giants, but
Yeah.
So
I'm so
that-
tired of that guy. It's ridiculous.
So
that's
that-
another topic. We won't even get into that.
so that's how they kicked off EA. I mean, their E3 was with the Tom Brady band.
Tom Brady is OP.
Nerf
But-
Tom Brady.
So they go in, and we know what they're starting off with. They're starting with Madden 18. And not just Madden 18, not just another hurtling over football players, diving, and all the stupid shots that they show for every other Madden in existence. They actually start off with the story mode.
Oh yeah, you are the unnamed, unknown protagonist of the campaign because clearly Madden needed a deep investing storyline.
No,
That's why everyone is there.
but you know what? At least it gives it that kind of special piece.
Thematic depth.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
you don't
guess.
need to play it, but
I've
definitely-
played a lot of Maddens.
Considering
and yeah,
out
it's
of
the same game almost every year. I mean, at this point.
Considering out of the people I know who play Madden, none of them play anything other than the multiplayer.
Right. I mean, you sit down with a bunch of dudes. I've done that already. I've
Play
me and a bunch of guys sat down,
Outside.
got so into Madden, my kid crawled down the steps. And we're like, oh, Dad of the Year, good job. Just a bunch of dudes watching a baby, good idea.
Had you been playing in story mode, you might have been able to pause that.
Yeah, I could have
Yeah,
stopped the
exactly.
action. So yeah, that was good. That was my good Madden experience.
So then they followed it up with, I think, A Way Out was next. Did you just? Okay.
Just realized I was still on. No biggie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, way out. That is, which one's that now?
A Way Out was the multiplayer
The
prison escape.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that looked
Now-
really neat because like some of the mechanics that they kind of showed in that trailer were pretty awesome looking.
And I think now it was widely criticized, but you and I played the hell out of Army of Two.
Yes, I was gonna say Army of Two was big.
Fantastic
like,
series too.
Yeah.
I mean, minus the whole bling and crap like that, adding gold to your gun. That's not
It
really.
gave
I
you
think
something to
that
do.
that was something more for people who just wanted that little extra. Hey, look at this.
Look what I got.
But yeah, A Way Out. One of the first games that really pushes for two people to play cooperatively on the same couch.
Yes, and that's kind of a dying breed. I
Was
mean,
this
it's
the
not a whole lot of
game
that
that's
left.
made by the same company who did Two Brothers?
Did EA do Two Brothers?
No, it's like a indie publisher under EA.
Well,
Why do I think it was?
I think it was the same group who did that, because I'm trying to
Somehow
remember
I
if
think it
this is the
was.
game I'm thinking of, but like the split screen is dynamic.
Yes.
And
it is.
yes, it is the
And
same one. All right, so this
not
game
just dynamic, but independent.
Right. Yes. So that was what I was gonna say. Is like something that was really cool that I noticed about it was that, as you're doing stuff like the split screen changes and moves dynamically as you do stuff in the game and depending on who's doing what. But like one of the things I saw in the trailer was, one player basically initiates a cutscene with a guard, and the other player uses that guy being distracted to do something behind him. Like,
And
it's
that
definitely
the jumping over the ridge towards the end of it.
There's a lot of really cool ideas that could go with that. That's going to be a cool game to see.
yeah.
I'm certainly looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yes, I think it's going to be way more awesome.
I'm-
than this.
It looks like they gave it a lot more love.
It does.
I'm
It looks like a
cautiously
really-
optimistic because the first one was bullshit.
I did not like.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it
It
was.
was so poorly handled.
It was. I
Like
think
it's
they-
like
they
3
considered-
multiplayer maps for
they considered it was
$60 and then a la carte the rest for
Yes.
another $70.
right. Which is why they
Like,
kind
come
of
on.
did that goodwill this time of having the DLC was free.
Yeah.
Like,
But
hey,
the first one, didn't they consider that a success? Like,
oh, it
did
made money.
okay, right?
It made.
But
It made
I
money.
didn't like
Yeah,
it.
but it also, my opinion, at least for me, burned a lot of consumer faith in the product because, the
Right.
first one was bullshit.
I did not like the first one so much.
It's like 3 classes, 4 guns, 4 maps,
And all the-
$60 game,
yeah, all
and
the
then
guns
everything
feel-
is massively overpriced DLC.
the guns didn't do it for me. I mean, I don't know.
What about you, Zach?
I only played it limitedly from another friend, but I enjoyed it for what it was. But I would not pay $60 for that.
No.
That's something I would probably pay more, $30 max.
Yeah.
Pay the $30, see if you like it, get the extra DLC. If you think it's valued there, which is kind of what I did with Overwatch. I mean, I had heard about Overwatch, but I had a million games coming out.
Yeah.
They dropped that price down to 30. It's like, yeah,
I could live with
I'll
this.
plus you $30.
Damn, I got screwed.
Oh yeah, I bought the game literally day one personally, but
Me
because
too.
I needed a break from Warcraft at the time because of the doldrums of the end of WoD. So
Hey, I'll tell you what. After playing it for as much as I've been playing it, I would have no issue going back and giving it.
you're like, well, now in retrospect, now I feel like I cheaped you guys.
But there are oftentimes in a lot of games you feel like that going back. But that's what happens when you don't jump in right away. So another game got itself a sequel, Need for Speed. What do we think of that?
Cutscenes in a racing game because nothing helps you drive better than the game randomly showing you something else in slow mo.
Well, there was that other game that had that slow-mo breakdown. Where you
One
were
of the
doing...
Burnout games.
Yes, it was Burnout.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't as constant as this, and there's other cutscenes as well interrupting the flow of things.
I think they're trying to make it more exciting than just driving around.
Well,
you know?
but
I mean,
that is the excitement. Like,
I see what they're trying.
the reason you buy Need for Speed is so you can buy a shitty $2,000 off the street Honda, trick it out with neons and spinners, and then let the cops chase you.
First off, wow, no,
Why a
$2,000 Honda BS.
That's
Maybe
new
that,
off
is
the
that what you do
lot.
for Need for Speed? I always bought the Camaro because I thought that was the cool. Maybe I'm old.
No, I always took the rice burner, at least in Need for Speed
See
3.
what is with you people?
I don't know.
Why don't you take the
Buy
good
the rice
cars?
burner, throw some...
I'm gonna be real
dragon.
honest. I haven't played a Need for Speed since Hot Pursuit 2 on the PlayStation.
Most wanted,
Carbon
most
is my
wanted.
last
So,
one with that.
and
play
I'm
Need
not
for
the
Speed.
target audience. My last serious, in this style racing game was Burnout 2.
See, now I'm into stupid racing games that have
Yeah.
zero actual...
Plausibility.
Right. I can drive.
Yeah,
I can
they're
drive a
fun.
car.
Arcade style racers.
Yeah.
Forza?
Yeah. Think of them like
I'm a
that.
big fan of Forza games.
Really?
But-
Like the Gran Turismo
Oh,
style.
and we're gonna
The racing
talk
Oh,
about
sim.
Forza
Forza.
Horizons 2 was a big open, map, and you just hung out and did whatever the hell you wanted. That was
alright.
always cool.
Yeah, we're gonna get into Forza.
Oh boy.
So,
Oh, we
That'd be just me, I guess.
We'll get in there.
did anybody actually watch that presentation. Did you see the guy playing the demo of Need for Speed?
No.
I probably tuned out at that point.
I could tell you.
It was pretty hilarious as, like, you know, the guy who's basically commenting on the game as this guy's playing it is trying to, like, hype features of the game as the dude who's playing literally can't stay on the road. And, like, he's like, oh, and there's off-roading options. No joke, an actual thing. He's like, and you can even go off-road. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I've seen this guy on the road yet.
They're trying to make it like Fast and Furious, I guess, to make it exciting, you know.
Yeah,
But-
like, it definitely feels like it's going for that angle of things. But, like I said, I think they've overdone some of the slow-mo stuff. I seriously think it's going to impact the quality of the racing itself.
Well,
it may look good in a trailer.
They
But
have,
it become too invasive in play.
That's my suspect.
They've got a couple months, you know, to iron out the details.
And I think
it's E3. You're EA. We're not expecting you to put the game out next year.
But we are
Delay the game as much as you need to. Polish it.
No, 'cause
that's not how EA
we said that
works.
about Kingdom Hearts. And
They're gonna send it out, and then maybe they'll patch it next year.
after they do their $60 DLC.
Right after they charge you for all the DLC.
This is a new EA.
Is it?
I have faith because they've brought one of the best games that I saw the entire press conference, or all of the press conferences, Anthem.
Yes, super stoked. Don't know what the hell I'm gonna do when that comes out, except not eat.
This is like a looter shooter, right?
This is EA's version of Destiny.
Yeah, it's a looter shooter.
It's robots and explosions and awesomeness.
Yeah,
Directed by Michael Bay.
Yes, basically.
maybe.
We don't,
It looks pretty cool.
We don't use Michael Bay's name.
We shall not speak of he who shall not be named.
Out of all the, I think that's my favorite trailer. Far Cry 5 is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, I was getting into Destiny 2, not having played Destiny 1. But now that I saw Anthem, I actually am
You're
just
like,
considering...
maybe Destiny can get bent.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, diving
No,
underwater,
I don't know.
flying, and that glider
It
stuff.
does. The Frostbite engine is like still amazingness.
Yeah,
The best I
absolutely,
can
I
do.
like it.
But I don't know to knock out Destiny because Destiny's already got an established fan base.
It does.
So
It's definitely going to be competing.
it's going to be competing, yes.
But yeah, for sure. And I think that it's going to get kind of an extra bonus because of the Blizzard launcher. And I
Yeah.
think that there's going to be a level of attraction from the PC audience, from the Blizzard audience. Because I know, like, Overwatch had a significantly higher push because of the Warcraft audience, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So do we think that this is going to go the way of Battlecry, then?
Battlecry?
Battleborn.
Battleborn?
Oh, of Blizzard totally dominating their unsuspecting and totally unprepared competition?
Yeah. The guy,
Blizzard always
maybe-
dominates all
It'll
competition.
get
Well,
a lot.
Not always, but
It'll fare a lot better than Battleborn.
I
just
mean,
because it's coming from a
execution.
larger publisher.
Right.
I think it also depends on launch timing.
They're
Yeah.
also giving it a lot more
Hype.
love and hype with their PR stuff. But I'll tell you what. It's a very pretty game.
It's very pretty, and if it plays as pretty as it looks, I don't know about Destiny 2. I'll have to see. That's a good point.
Side note, just on like that comparison of Overwatch to Battleborn, anybody else find it incredibly bemusing that Overwatch had a play for free weekend the same weekend that Battleborn went free to play? The like last desperate attempt to save the game, and Blizzard just like nails in the coffin.
Did anybody play Battleborn?
Did anybody play Battleborn?
Did anybody
I
play
kind
it?
of
played it
wanted
demo.
to.
I know what it is. I never played it
See,
because Overwatch happened.
It's more Smite, less Call
I was
of
going to
Duty.
say,
Maybe
before,
MOBA, right?
before we move
Yeah.
back into E3, with Battleborn and Overwatch, one of the main problems, since we're talking about the comparisons, was they marketed it saying it's a lot like Overwatch. When it's completely not.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
it's
more
not.
Smite.
It's more mobile.
Overwatch is like Team Fortress.
See, now that cracks me up. Why would you want to announce
Invite
your
comparisons
game?
to a superior game.
Well, not just invite your comparisons to a superior game, but a game that just came out. It's like,
Well, they
hey,
came out
this is
side
just
by side.
right. Why would you compare? It's like, hey, it's just like this other game.
I don't know that
why
they
would I
did
want-
specifically. Not
It wasn't specifically referenced to Overwatch, but it was referenced to being Overwatch-like more so by the fans,
Okay.
but more so playing in the same style by the developer.
Okay, so the developer and the publisher were not pushing it as, hey,
Yeah.
this is the same.
Yeah, I think some of the side promotional stuff, like what people are talking about. But yeah, like I think Total Biscuit actually said like they had looked at Battleborn, and on Steam it had like 73 players during that weekend.
That's it.
Like there were points like online where they had looked at it where they had like 70 concurrent players.
Oh wow.
That's rough. I mean, it looked like a fun game.
Yeah, well, it did, but it was
probably
marketed poorly. It was executed poorly.
It probably wasn't refined. I mean, Blizzard refines the shit out of the game.
Right.
Everything's balanced, amazing, and everything plays smooth. It's
Right,
just
and like that wasn't Battleborn's issue per se. It was just timing and marketing. Like it wasn't pushed correctly, and they timed it very poorly against a Blizzard game. Like realistically, like this is going to be one of those things in like marketing textbooks equivalent to "Don't invade Russia in the winter."
Or it could also be compared to the Skull and Bones and Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
We have two games that are
two
coming
pirate
out,
games.
but
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of-
That one I don't know. I remember the boat one, Skull and
There's one that's
Skull and Bones,
more
the boats.
World
Skull
of
and-
Warships, and there's one that's more
yes, Skull
Black
and
Flag.
Skull and
I-
Bones is the Skull and Bones is made by the people from Black Flag.
I saw the one with the boats.
They're both ones with boats,
Yeah,
obviously.
they're pirate games. But
The
I think
focus.
they're doing the same thing.
the focus. Yeah, they're very.
so
similar.
Skull and Bones
Which
is
one's Ubisoft?
Skull
What I
and
was
Bones.
gonna do. That is
That's
Skull
what
and
he's trying to
Bones.
talk about.
Okay, sorry.
That's the one that they pulled. The developers for Black Flag came over, and they said they listened to everybody's outcries that they wanted more ship battles, more ship battles, more ship battles, more ship battles. That's what we want out of an Assassin's Creed game: is more ship battles. So they said, "Fine, we're going to give you a game of only ship battles." So a big part of their presentation with that, though, was it made it seem like they were giving you this gigantic, expansive world, when it turns out that you can't even get out of your ship.
Yeah, it's World of Warships. more
How much?
so
How much
than-
can you do with that boat until it's like, okay, it's a boat.
Well-
Right. Well, it's a PvP game.
Right.
Right, but still, I mean, how? I don't know.
It's entirely built around its multiplayer.
I feel like you're very limited because that old pirate boat
it's
ain't gonna do anything
depend on
crazy.
how much the how much the customization options are
Right.
available and like what you can do with the modifications.
Because this could technically have, not to make a complete direct comparison, but it could have that Overwatch effect, where you have your different boat types, you design your 5-on-5 team to try to accomplish whatever the objective is, which I like, but I'm wondering if with the whole how boats move and function in the water and the controls, if it's something that people are going to want to play for an extended time, like in Overwatch.
I don't think you're going to. How many types of boats can you have? I mean, Overwatch has got what?
Well, I mean,
30
like, if you
plus?
look
They
at it, like,
demonstrated a couple different types.
if you
Yeah.
look at it as like a higher budget World of Warships, like that game is fairly successful, as well as World of Tanks. Like those
Right.
two games, they're just vehicle combat sims in a way. Like they're all based around PvP and like their own thing, but and like those games are popular enough as far as like
So what do we
communities.
think the price point needs to be?
I don't know. I'm torn on that one.
I don't see 60
I'm
bucks
not-
happening.
I'm not a big fan of those types of games, but I mean, the only real examples of them that we have are two free-to-play models.
Right. So Josh, I know that you play a somewhat similar game, but it's more set in space, where you build your battle cruiser and you go from station to station, and then you build the different attachments. This is a little bit different. Was that was a free to play, right? Or did you pay for that one?
Can't even remember the name of that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Rebel Galaxy? Is that what we're talking about?
Eve?
No, it might have been Rebel Galaxy. It's the one where you have the the spaceship cruiser and you're going from different areas and you expand onto your ship. And then you undergo different attacks. No, you work with a team. You're working with a team of people, and then you are navigating and basically having those ship battles.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Must have been a different friend. It was a different Josh. We're sorry.
I get that a lot.
Anyway, how much would you pay for a game like that? Would it have to be one of those free to play, and
As long as it's not pay to play.
pay to win?
Well, no, like, or what does Sterling call it? The fee to pay. Like, you buy the game and then it's all microtransactions.
Oh, how much money can you spend?
Yeah. And it's like, it's not even that it's like significant power advantages. It's just like the game is riddled with microtransactions in a $60 game. Like, those are that to me is what I suspect that this game is going to very quickly turn into, is like everything from like basic customization options to music and things like that are added as paid DLC in a bought game.
Well,
Like, that would be my concern. Sorry.
I played World of Tanks for about 30 minutes, so I'm glad I didn't pay $60 for it. I can say that.
That bad?
Right.
I think it's just kind of the vehicle PvP. I feel like I can't move because my hands are tied. I'm always just waiting for my vehicle to make its slow, ponderous moves. And it doesn't have the same action feel that I get out of a first-person shooter.
Right.
Well, that's how the boats are too. I mean,
Right, the
thing's not gonna-
immediacy of on foot versus vehicles, and again, I'd say for this game that their best model would either be like all inclusive, like what Overwatch does, where like you buy the game and everything they add is free from there, with maybe a massive amount of basic stuff on like loot boxes or something, which is still a shitty casino way of handling it, but like
Right, but you know what? They listened to their fans, whether or not they made the right decision. They did, on a game that is getting their sequel after a year of taking off, Assassin's Creed Origins.
no, yeah, the Egyptian one.
And
Ubisoft.
that's the thing. That's the thing with Assassin's
moved on
Creed
to
that
Ubisoft.
drives me absolutely mad, is the fact that it's the Egyptian one. It's that Assassin's Creed took a year off, said that they were going to really hammer down and try to get Assassin's Creed right, and we walk away with it being the Egyptian one.
Well,
I'm going to keep an open mind about it. I mean, Renaissance Italy can only be, so much.
I'm with you there. I am going to keep an open mind. However, since we're saying Assassin's Creed, I have to go with the first one. It was a more simple model, a more straightforward structure. They could have added more open elements to it, but I think if they went with a similar formula to that and expanded upon that base, they'd
isn't
pull
that
out
what
better.
2 did?
A little bit. But I
Like,
don't
I've
feel
always
like
heard
it did
2
much.
being one of the ones that everybody was super fond of. I never got into the series.
I get them all mixed up.
I don't have the patience for like that stealth gameplay. Like, I'm too run and gun, I think.
I am usually too, but I played them all.
That was the thing with Assassin's Creed, where it asked you to be stealthy, but it didn't demand, because as long as you were blocking, you could take on a 100-on-1 army.
Yes, you totally felt like a badass.
And then when you're sick of people running after you, you dive into a haystack, and then
You're gone.
you're done.
Yeah. This one looks like it's very much another Ubisoft the game. Because it looked like they were going for like an open world thing, and it's got all of the same UI elements as Far Cry and
Assassin's Creed has always been a semi-open world type game.
right.
But I will say things that do differ and kind of somewhat resonate with me, somewhat a little bit jade me, is that now instead of just going and purchasing weapons to be upgraded, they are doing it's a more RPG element based game.
Right.
And they did also add, having your Hawk companion go up.
Right. The drone. That's what I'm saying. Like, it looks like it's Ubisoft the game. And, like, they have 3 different skins every year. And, like, now, like, they all have towers. They all have open world. They all have, like, the checkpoint list. Now they all have the drone. They're slowly all starting to have the pet. Because you got the dog in Far Cry. You got the drone in Far Cry 4. Like, you got the bird in Assassin's Creed. Like, they all have the same elements in every game.
And
the talent trees, the level ups, the perk systems.
Well, you know, you did mention about the dog in Far Cry 4. We are getting another dog in Far Cry 5.
Right.
But it's kind of neat that not only are you calling upon a companion, not just in Assassin's Creed, but more along like with Far Cry.
Yeah.
Now you're calling in other people to come join you as well.
So, Ubi the game has advanced.
Yeah, Ubi the game has added a new element.
Interplayer 2.
Yeah. I'm curious how they're going to explain away the fact that everyone in the universe has cell phones and the National Guard would show up with a lot of guns very quickly in this circumstance.
It is more rural, though. In
Yeah, but it's not like you can't find it.
I mean, like,
But
rural or not, like, we have airplanes.
It's-
like, how long would it take, like, somebody's like, oh my god, there's tons of terrorists with guns, help us, and the National Guard or somebody shows
I am
up.
curious to see how that's going to be done. But the way that it's being put is more along the lines of this is a cult. This is a community
Right.
that has been dealing with this cult. It's been engraved into this miniature society for
Right.
X amount of years. It's a real thing, especially in this country where there are these communities that just
Super isolate themselves.
super isolate themselves and accept the sort of behavior that comes with it.
Yeah, in a way, like that, you know, drinking the
I do
thing.
like the
Right.
idea. I think it's going to be a cool setting.
Yeah.
I think the environment.
I agree. It's just like I said, it's like in a
It is.
world where
But
cell phones exist,
it's
I
just
wonder
like-
how they're going to rationalize how the government doesn't get involved really quickly.
It's
But
just
we
like
still believe wrong turn is a thing
Yes.
that could happen every single time we watch the exact same movie 3 times over.
I suppose. Well, like I
it's
said,
the
like I'm
same
not.
as the action movies.
not,
It's like
you know.
no one else is handling this. Just Bruce
And
Willis
is
is going to
This
save the
seems
day.
bigger scale than just like 1 or 2
Yeah.
people disappearing. every
Is
once
this
in a
at
while,
modern
though.
day?
Yes.
I didn't pick up on that.
It,
Yes.
it appears
It's
to be.
modern
Most
day?
of them
It's
are. I
modern
haven't
day
seen, I
in
haven't seen Far
Montana,
Cry yet.
in the mountains.
Other than
Okay.
Primal, obviously wasn't.
Right.
But
I know it was at least semi, because I mean, even if this was set in the 80s,
yeah,
Like,
80s or 90s.
80s or
like-
90s, cell phones weren't as prevalent.
No,
and it
but-
would be more believable.
Yeah, I'd agree in that scenario. But like I said, like right now, especially with like cell phones and the level of just presence of that type of thing, because like when was the last time an event like that happened anywhere in the States that, you know, law enforcement didn't get involved within 12 to 16 hours of it breaking? I mean, like, even, like, the
It's-
really extreme examples of the 80s and 90s, like Waco, like, they got involved very quickly, even if it didn't
But it's
resolve for a long
it's an
time.
action
but-
movie mentality.
I
you know?
get
It's
it.
just
Right, like, you gotta
mm.
shut out that, I suppose. But it's still interesting.
Go ahead, John.
So if you're in the remote mountains, then maybe you've got your cell phone, but there's a whole side quest looking for signal.
Maybe. That
Yeah.
would be interesting. Like, that could be they could develop that as a plot point.
Yeah.
Like, trying to get to a place where you can get a call out.
But we
to
do talk about the 80s and 90s, the Bundys.
the Bundys. Yeah.
The Bundys had their reservation that they lived
Right.
on. Mm-hmm. And for, 8-9 years, they were doing their thing, and it took them how long to finally get in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it is something that is at least somewhat believable. I'm looking forward to seeing how Ubisoft
Yeah.
does present it.
I'm looking forward to there.
That's the other big one I'm excited for: Far Cry and Anthem
And then,
and South Park.
Yeah, South Park. South Park coming out this year.
I am probably the only one at this table excited for that because
Which
it's
one?
all just swearing
What
and
is this one
voice.
called
Certainly
again?
not. Is the Fractured Butthole.
So they played
Yeah,
upon.
I get it. It's funny.
So they're playing upon Civil War. So like the Marvel movies. So these kids are all.
Oh yeah, the
they
superhero
split.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm super.
The
I'm,
Coon.
the Coon and Mysterion and
Yeah, yeah,
Timmy.
yeah. That'll be really funny.
The
So-
Timmy moment was probably my favorite.
you have.
I like
Yeah.
the Cthulhu bit. Where he like tickles him under the chin.
Yes, you have to have the right fucked up mentality to really appreciate South Park. No, I grew up with that since I saw a South.
I always thought South Park was very smart in that.
It is. It's witty.
That
but
it was always really funny to me when people who don't catch how witty and it's being are just amused
and
by
it's,
the
it's
fart
very
jokes.
up to date. Like it's with current events
Well,
of that
right.
time.
Well,
So I mean, it's always
yeah.
fun to watch a rip on everybody.
It's a topical satire on.
Right. The programs that they used to create it. Like, I'm sure everybody's seen the documentaries that they described, like, making the show with the programs they use as, like, building a sandcastle with a bulldozer.
But I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Now, I mean, I think that's October, right? It's the end of the year.
It's October, it's November. Those 2 months are just completely flooded with games.
Yes, because it's Christmas and
That
everyone
I
has to
am-
play, like, you know.
Oh, but I mean, just the
Oh,
fact
wife,
that
there's something to buy us for Christmas.
everything. My wife doesn't have enough. We don't have enough money to buy all these games.
Oh, hell no.
No, I can't buy
You gotta
all
pick
of
and choose. We'll have to split them up for reviews. Like, okay, like, I'll take these 3 and hopefully I'll get them done before the end of the year.
Yes,
Since
which-
most of them are all massive open world games.
I've already considered contracting a couple out to some people.
How
Yeah.
How many of these games do you think we do not even need a review for? How many are you like, I'm gonna buy this damn thing?
Ooh, I mean, just out of the first page,
Is it that bad?
I'm looking at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. Out of 12 games, maybe 3 of them don't need reviews.
Okay, that's not that bad.
Because right now I'm sitting here trying to not just come up with a good transition. Into
on the first
these.
page, we didn't get the page 2.
There's 2 more
We'll
pages
get there.
after this one. So I'll ask you guys, what do you want to talk about first? Beyond Good and Evil 2 or Mario and Rabbids?
That was a foul-mouthed monkey.
That was a very foul mouth.
I'm pretty positive I never got
Did
to
anyone
play
play the
Good and
first?
Evil.
And no
I
one played
never
the first
did.
one?
I
Anybody?
never did.
No?
But I'm pretty sure that game was not that vulgar.
No, it was PS2.
So?
It came out in
But
2003.
with the swearing
they were
and-
not that
It
bad.
wasn't like
PS2.
this. Like, there were no games like this in the PS2 era. Like, I'm positive of that. Not,
Yeah.
other than GTA. But even then, GTA handled it very differently. This was very casual.
Now, this was, what, 13, 14 years ago when the last one came out?
14.
So, are they going with the guy like us that would have played it?
What they're
I'm
doing
betting that they're assuming their audience is now in their 30s.
We old and we
Well,
swear.
it's not just that. This is going to be a prequel. So
Right,
I mean,
it's a-
you don't necessarily have to have played the original game.
But the
There might
trailer
be
was
some-
definitely hype. Like,
Yeah.
if the game
Yeah.
can maintain that kind of artistry, that would be pretty fucking awesome.
that would be outstanding.
I've heard of brief clips. It's not. This is definitely a game that is in pretty early development.
Oh, I'm not even considering it wasn't, considering they really just kind of decided they were doing it recently after
Right.
holding it hostage for 5 years of begging.
Yeah, that was a bombshell. I didn't even see that one coming. I'm like, oh my god, what is this?
Yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil.
that was really
As soon
cool.
as the pig showed up, I knew what it was. Like, because like that was a very cool
right.
character from the first one. So like I knew what it was. It was just like I didn't have enough knowledge about the game. I'm like, this seems very different than what I pictured the first game as.
Yeah, that was she carried a camera around, right?
Well, Jade she was much too young to be alive during this. If it's as early as people
no,
are
this
saying.
is.
That it's like 15, 20 years prior.
No, but
was
I'm
only
just
like
trying to
18 or
remember from
19.
the.
Yeah, she was a journalist.
Yeah.
And she was doing something with investigating the crime ring that I think that pig was part of. Like, and I think that was the core
So maybe we're getting to actually see all of the
his
crimes.
rise to power, maybe.
His rise to power, and yeah, just the crime ring being started.
Maybe. And like I said, like that's my understanding of the game. And again,
So-
like I haven't played it. I'm only going off.
So
of
it's like
what I
an
remember.
action platforming game like Uncharted is? Or what?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was more. I don't have a good context to put it in. More like Jackson Daxter. Like the later ones were like it's
Yeah.
open level based.
Just a
Like,
normal
it's-
3D platformer.
Right, like
Yeah.
it's story driven, but I don't know that it relied on platforming. I don't remember much about the mechanics of the game. Like, that's one that I genuinely
But-
want to pick up and play.
Being as maybe it did age with us, maybe they're going for something a little more mature.
Yeah, and I'm sure
So-
that's part of it. Like, no doubt there. But it's
What, I
like,
mean-
does it thematically fit the universe?
Everything in that trailer was awesome
It was
and
great.
surprising. But I think, personally, the most surprising part of that entire trailer was the reveal that it was going to be on the Switch.
What? Good and Evil?
Good and
You
Evil
can't
2.
put a swearing monkey on Nintendo.
Oh, you absolutely can. They put Resident Evil 4 on GameCube, just as a
Yes,
that's
reminder.
true.
Like, that was the gaping bloody hole in the argument that Nintendo was for kids at the time.
Right, but then they went back to it.
But
for the
then,
Wii.
yeah, they never... they
And then the
never-
Wii U. So this,
They
I
didn't
mean-
follow up.
this for me, is Nintendo's rise back to the place where it used to be.
Well, I'm hoping...
GameCube N64
Yeah.
era where we have the
Experimentation.
adult games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is simply... I mean, like, Iwata was a beautiful man who did a lot of things for the company, but I feel like he probably held things back a little bit by focusing too much on that family-friendly image.
Yeah.
And I see a very distinct shift with the Switch, where instead of really aiming to draw in new young audiences and, like, the fringe gamers, it looks like they refocused at their core.
Yeah.
And I think that that's going to make them much, much more successful. Like, no, really, like, yeah, the games are appropriate for everybody, but they're focused at us rather than at our kids, which was more the case with, and, like, our grandparents.
Well, Nintendo,
Which is what the Wii and the Wii U tried to do.
And they don't lack the more family-friendly games still.
No, absolutely
Because a lot of their first-party titles are still going that way.
Well, that's what I mean.
But-
Appropriate for everybody.
Third-party, I mean, Ubisoft. Drilling and staying with the Nintendo Switch. I mean, getting Beyond Good and Evil 2, showing you that love, and then Mario
Is it an
Rabbids.
exclusive for the Switch?
No.
I didn't think so. I was
No,
gonna say, like,
but
see, that was
the
why
fact
it
that
did.
it
That
is-
was why it didn't register to me.
I
Because
think-
when you said it, I thought you meant like it was exclusive. Like, it doesn't surprise me. It's coming out on all of them,
Right.
honestly.
Well, it actually does for me. Because
Really?
a lot of the titles, like EA, is bringing FIFA.
Right.
FIFA is the title.
Well, FIFA's a good start.
Right, and it's their most popular. It's the game that's going to
Yeah,
make
it's their
them the most
worldwide
money.
seller.
So it's a smart investment by EA. I'm sure they're going to look at the sales of FIFA, turn around and go, all right, well, we sold... If they manage to pull off 33% of the sales from FIFA onto the Switch, I think we're going to see a lot more EA games.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
hope so.
as far as third party goes, the Switch is like it's a normal controller, and I think a lot of third party guys are like, what the hell do I do with
Right,
this?
but
So I mean,
the-
now,
Yeah.
now the guys
Like, I got a fucking wiggle stick and like, what is this jungle?
with
Like,
the Switch being a remote, it's like, okay, now we can jump back on this bandwagon and kind of give Nintendo a
Right,
chance.
not focusing on the touchscreen, because I think like that asymmetrical thing they focused with the Wii U scared people too. They're like, the fuck do we even do with this? Like,
Well, it actually was not, in Nintendo's defense, it wasn't new technology.
no, but
it was-
asymmetrical gameplay was definitely something new that they were pushing. And like, it wasn't new in the sense that it had never been done before,
Right.
but it was new in
Because-
the sense that the hardware itself was designed to support it.
I think, well, the hardware was designed to support it back in PS2 era, or no, it was PS3. God of War 2. When God of War 2 hit, if you remember in the very beginning of that game, they had the asymmetrical going down the pit into Hades.
No, by
was it rising out
asymmetrical,
of Hades?
asymmetrical I mean where you have two different types of gameplay simultaneously, in the sense of like multiplayer stuff, where like you have like New Super Mario Brothers is a starting example where you have two people playing. One can use the Joy-Con and not play the game and just interact with the game in a totally different way.
Right,
Or
but
like
that wasn't-
the Luigi
That's
Ghost Mansion
that's-
thing where like one of you is playing as the ghost on the touchscreen and you can see the whole board,
Right.
but the players can't. Like, or evolve. Like two
Right, but
different.
realistically, for going to the Wii U, hardly any of the games actually use the dual
Well,
screens.
right, and but that's because it
Except
was
for,
supported, but it wasn't mandatory. But the way Nintendo promoted it, I think, scared people into thinking that if they didn't use these features, they weren't doing it right. And I think a lot of them stayed away from it
That
because of
and
that.
those systems were dramatically underpowered as opposed to the Switch.
They weren't
The
so
Switch-
underpowered they couldn't perform.
The Switch is still underpowered, isn't
The-
it?
A little bit.
Xbox
compared,
X.
compared to the
Triple X or whatever the hell it is.
If you remember the
Yeah.
the Call of Duty that they put out onto the Wii was way bad. I mean, some people enjoyed the play style of it, but
Oh no, the Wii was dramatically underpowered, but the Wii U was closer to where it needed to be. It just wasn't quite.
right, and that wasn't something that somebody was going to push to develop for
No,
because you're using
well,
it on
yeah.
out of
The
date
power
hardware.
loss is definitely
Right,
a big
and that's
deal.
was the same thing going into the Switch. The Switch is a little bit underpowered, but it's not out of the realm now. But people are still not sure whether or not they want to develop for something that's gonna not look as pretty as the other two systems.
Right.
But again, with Ubisoft going into Mario and Rabbids, I mean, this game.
Back to that.
Amazing. It looks amazing.
I didn't know.
So
it took a while for
weird.
my brain to understand what the hell I saw. Like I sat there, the trailer played. I'm like, what the hell? Like I didn't even. What is it?
So this was
It is XCOM. It's XCOM
XCOM?
with rabbits.
I'm a huge XCOM fan.
It's a tactical
So-
turn-based shooter.
See now.
Is that what they're calling it?
Well, you can see it from the gameplay.
Yeah, it just
Did you
seems-
not watch any of the gameplay
I did,
stuff?
but my brain wasn't understanding it. I was
Oh,
like,
with
what the
exploration
fuck?
elements.
See, now this is. I thought of it kind of as. This is the game that I wanted Fire Emblems to be.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting something that I was a little underwhelmed with. Because I used to love the I used to love Final Fantasy Tactics.
Did you ever play Disgaea?
I've played a little bit of Disgaea.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. But I looked at this game and I said, this is the evolution of what I played on the PlayStation 1 and absolutely loved the hell out of.
Right.
So, I mean, this is not what I was expecting. I was expecting some party game with stupid things here and there.
When I saw that they had laser cannons on their arms and like the first promotional stuff, like I was like, oh god, I hope they do it. Like really hoping that I was like, there's two ways that this can go. This can either be Raving Rabbids and be a shitty party game collection, or they could use these guns in an RPG, because I got the impression right away it was an RPG.
Is it?
It is.
They led to it, but I was curious to see what
They
kind of
aired to
RPG
it, but
was.
yeah, it's a tactical turn-based RPG.
So it's
shooter.
like XCOM 2.
It is XCOM 2 with Mario and Rabbids.
Did XCOM 2 have cover?
Yes.
Yes.
That was a core mechanic.
Okay.
Yes.
Literally watching these gameplay trailers, it is legitimately 100% XCOM 2 with exploration elements featuring Mario and the Rabbids in the most insane combination of weirdness I've seen in a really long time.
Well, that's what Rabbids is. It's just,
So,
what the hell?
And that's Nintendo at its
On a-
best.
on a
It is
side note,
weird.
Rabbids are amazing for the simple fact that they are the perfect level of adorable and fucking awful. They are likable, but
Yes.
you never feel bad about fucking hurting them.
They're
Yes.
they're Ubisoft's minions.
Yes,
Yes.
they're like minions.
If you-
I always say they're like minions.
If you chopped off the ears of a rabbit, and painted it yellow,
Yeah.
that's how.
They're the perfect level of cute and harmable.
Yes. That's imagination. Imagination went, hey, I could cut the ears off of those rabbits.
And then we can do terrible things to them and everyone will laugh.
Yeah. Or more particularly out of Despicable Me 2, when they turned purple and
get evil.
all they did was walk around and were literally the rabbits going, ah!
Yeah.
That's a nice Rabbids impression now.
That was Despicable. They were,
The minions.
yeah.
Evil
But,
minions.
oh man.
That's gonna be cool. It was so off the wall though, but I was like, man. So I just saw that. That's a real thing.
Yeah, if you liked XCOM 2, you're probably gonna love that game. I'm betting.
Oh.
Like, there's no way Nintendo's gonna literally rip off everybody's mechanics and not make them better. Like, the two masters of that are Blizzard and Nintendo.
Not entirely wrong.
No.
Not at all.
But not entirely right either, because as we saw out of, Nintendo and, well, going into Bethesda, Lank, Lank as I'm going to call him now.
Blank?
Yes. The Skyrim Amiibo add-on.
Oh, that you can, for
You
the,
can
for
turn
the Switch,
into
you
Link.
He doesn't turn into Link. It's just a costume.
Oh no, that's why I said I didn't say Link, Lank.
Lank.
Because that face,
Dova Lank.
yeah, on that body is just the most hideous.
He's like grizzled and gnarled in a bright blue uniform with the Master Sword. It's
Yeah.
like,
What are they
what
thinking?
even is this?
If they-
Is
Is
this
this what people want? Is this going to sell it?
That right there is what the modern community is going to turn around and do on the PC.
Well, that would and that's the joke of it is like, is this a selling point? You've been able to do this on the PC for 10 years.
yeah, and better.
Yeah, well,
But I will give them this. Out of all of that, when I saw them present the Master Sword looked great, and then they panned out, and then they should have just stopped there. They should have given you the Master Sword in the Hyrule Shield, and there you go.
yeah, what does he need the blue tunic to? Like, it doesn't look good in Skyrim. There isn't enough blue in that game for that not to clash.
They should have gone
horribly.
more
Like,
classic if they wanted to do anything with
yeah,
that.
or like just muted it to Skyrim's colors, because everything in Skyrim like thematically fits because it's all, down to earth and natural looking.
Yeah.
Like natural pigments, natural colors. Like nothing exists without, serious manufacturing that is that level of blue.
But I mean, let's come on, Bethesda. A 6-year-old game, and they decide that they're
Is it only 6?
It's 11. That's when it came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a 6-year-old game isn't just getting re-released once this year.
But twice.
Bethesda's never going to stop until Skyrim is on every platform in the cosmos.
Right. Next year I'm sure it's coming to our phones.
Yes.
But
Probably already could.
again,
That's not
another
anymore,
thing
it
that's
is.
done disgusting was the Skyrim VR.
Oh, yeah, that's...
It
is
got
that the one that
released in another-
teleports?
in the PlayStation press conference, but I'm gonna talk about with Bethesda. No.
One of them...
Skyrim didn't get the teleports. The Doom VFR got the teleports.
Okay. Yeah, so the Skyrim one is the one that's going to make everybody incredibly nauseous when they play it.
It's VR.
Well, Skyrim and Fallout.
Yes and no. The problem
'Cause
with VR is people can't handle the motion sickness because of the way that movement works. We haven't figured out a way to not make people incredibly motion sick while walking. Because it's immersive enough that your brain feels like you're walking, but your ears know that you're not. And so people get very, very sick from it. Not everybody, but enough.
It is one of those things.
I've never tried
it. It's
but-
with your eyes and the rest of your body.
Right. It's the way
I've
that
played
your
a bunch
body
of
interprets
VR.
movement.
I've done a lot of demos with it,
Is
and
it
it-
not good yet? Are they, I mean, I know
Well,
they're trying.
It
but
depends on how they handle it.
right. And there are certain games. There's the Battle Tanks game that they
Right.
have.
And now you can get away with because your
It's-
body understands what it feels like to be in a vehicle.
Well,
Right.
In
kind
a
of.
way.
That has more of the polygon look, so it's a little bit softer on your eyes,
Okay.
and the motion isn't. A tank doesn't move in as many different directions
Right.
as a
walking.
human body or a plane. Like the jet game, the space battle game that they put out, is very rough on the stomach.
Yeah.
Really?
I feel like it should be.
Should.
That's part of the authentic
Yes.
experience
If you're gonna
of
fly a
moving
TIE
at,
fighter, you should puke.
moving at fucking, sublight speeds.
Right. And I mean, for the first 5-10 minutes, it's
It's exhilarating.
Does your body adjust to it though? Like you would. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sure over time it will.
Yeah, over time you have to.
You
It's
get
one of
used
those
to
things
it.
where you really have to train your body and your brain to accept. But when it does, VR is amazing.
Is it like they're really pushing it? But I haven't tried it yet because it looks.
Well, most
It
companies,
looks cheesy right now.
It is, in my personal experience, quite literally the evolution of going from console gaming to PC gaming, and then you go into VR gaming. Because in console gaming, your aim is based off of the motion sticks, whereas you have that
based off auto aim.
right auto aim.
Get a mouse.
But exactly, your mouse is much more responsive, much easier, and much more accurate. And then when you take that extra step into VR, now you're physically moving your arms,
right?
and you have your head that can move from side to side and give you that extra speed.
That level of tracking, because you're not. It's no longer guessing where your pointer is going to go by how fast and where you move your mouse, which is much more precise than
Right.
sticks.
Imagine
Right.
playing in an Overwatch. Mark will
And,
actually
keep going
be
back,
able
and
to
you actually
Overwatch.
just like.
And
Yeah.
just because we're big old
And
fans,
actually be able
everything
to
that's
kill
related to
tracers.
Overwatch.
That's what I'm saying.
I have great tracking, but it's really hard to move precisely enough.
Why don't we just have Overwatch VR and get it over with?
Because the speed at which Overwatch moves and the way it moves would require superhuman levels of chemical assistance.
The Blizzard vomit bag.
Yeah.
Now coming with every
every
purchase copy of
uh,
Overwatch 2.
every purchase of Overwatch VR includes a lifetime supply of Dramamine in a barf bag.
No, that's you're gonna need some shards for that.
Shards. Like, it just attaches to the mask. It's like gas mask style with, like, vent ports.
Loot boxes.
Special Roadhog
Be
edition.
like Roadhog, yeah.
Yeah, you get a Roadhog edition.
But yeah, the other VR game, well, the other two VR games being Fallout,
I like
Right.
Fallout, but
which is a slow enough pace game
It
where
is.
it's not gonna make you.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of
too bad, but-
VR
So,
games
are these- do they
focus
give
on
you-
like the single room, or they focus their mechanics around teleportation to
Right.
limit your
so
amount of movement.
my wife's not
and
going to see me
motion
jump behind
sickness.
my couch to avoid gunfire. Because that would be pretty cool to see. We're not there yet.
Depends on your VR.
Yeah, it depends on your VR.
Which one
They'll
is that?
set things up.
That's happening on Christmas.
Well, it depends. Well, it
I
depends
might
on
be.
how it's going to work on things, because some setups are full room VR, some setups are limited space, where like it's really only centered around your body, and then there's other ones that take the space
So-
of the room into account.
I'm
like-
trying to
So
remember.
you're not really off your ass running around.
Not on
per se.
on a PlayStation VR. You're not.
on PlayStation VR.
I want to
it's
say
more-
the Vive might. It's either Vive or Oculus is the one that has the positioning cameras.
yeah, I don't remember what. Well,
I kind of
two
think it's
of
a
well
Vive.
I think those two are both full room VR, but one of them uses multiple position
See,
cameras,
this
and the
shit's
other
so
one
high-tech.
uses like a
It's just-
laser grid.
Okay.
That's so high tech. Like, oh my god.
Well, both of those require a space essentially the size of this room just to set it up. And so it's very restrictive in that sense, is most people can't set them up. They don't have the space to do it.
And then you have to trip over kids and dogs in my land. So it's
Right,
like you
and
can't
so
even do
like
that.
in a normal household, VR is not an option. You need to have a fairly large dedicated gaming space, which is one of the reasons why there's the joke floating around that VR is like the privilege simulator, because you need to be able to afford and accommodate these systems. Which is why the console ones are nice, because they don't require nearly as much space.
Right.
If one of us get
Yes.
one, we can have just all go to that guy's house. And,
Yeah, there you go.
Well, either that or if everyone. Yeah, we'll get. That's
I'll
not-
chip
We'll
in
get
and get
there.
one.
We'll get there.
That's
we'll,
not
we'll deal with that eventually.
That'll be good to
Yeah.
Moving on.
podcast.
We have a exploded October, November that we don't need to worry about VR games for.
Yeah,
a good
we're
while.
good. I did really want to try Star Trek Bridge Crew, but anyway.
But yeah, I mean, one of the huge things with VR, which we'll stay on VR for an extra couple minutes. There was a partnership this year,
Yeah.
Microsoft and Oculus.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Microsoft didn't bring any VR this year.
Which was really strange considering the original hype behind Scorpio was it does VR.
Right. They talked
And then
nothing about it.
this conference, it just wasn't.
So now we're gonna have VR Halo.
But they did have a.
They had a very, very diverse games lineup.
Well, they took the Super Lucky Tail, which was originally an Oculus VR game, and they ported it on as a nice little platformer.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, VR is particularly from that point of view what didn't show up. But yeah, when you get into VR, you have to have a lot of money, unless you're doing it for a PlayStation.
How much is it's a headset?
Well, even with the PlayStation,
About
it's another
PlayStation
$200 device, isn't
Is
it?
that what it is?
It's
That's not-
$120.
That's not that bad now.
No. It's an extra $120 on top of the VR headset. It's $400 for the headset.
No, F you.
On top of the PlayStation,
So what's
on
the $100
top of the
bucks?
controllers.
On top of the games.
And the
Right.
camera.
So you're basically just buying two systems.
Right. Like you're buying another system that
You're
requires
buying
a previous
you're buying
system.
an Xbox One X. Is what you're buying.
Yeah, you gotta buy the One X, then the headset, then the controllers, and the games.
No, what I was saying is it's comparable in price. It's about $500 to get yourself set up
After you have the system.
console.
past the console.
What if we got badass
Which is
gaming
notable.
rigs, so we
But
can just get
this is
headsets,
just for
right?
PSVR. If you want to get into Oculus or HTC, you're looking at between $800 and $1,200. And
On
that,
top of the rig to run it.
right.
Which is
Well,
already
some of us already
a
have the
very
rig.
high end.
Yeah.
Like even like anything sub like GTX 900 series is not handling VR.
And we actually just talked about that the other
I
day.
got a 980. Is that good?
That would barely run.
No, that was recommended requirements.
Right.
Do you remember that, Josh?
I don't remember the requirements.
It was somewhere right around there.
Yeah, like that would be enough to be functional, but not
It would run it badly.
No, it was
not
It
necessarily.
was recommended because none of them are really graphically pushing it.
Come on.
But it's all the other things that it's handled.
I bet you all those
Right.
games on the VR are super dumbed down graphically.
Some of them.
No.
Some of them are
Doom
stylistic. some
VFR
of
is
them aren't.
actually pretty nice.
Is it?
Fallout 4 looks reasonably the same. And then it's just the hands. The floating hands
The
bother me.
floating glove.
Because when you put your hands out in front of you, like in Skyrim and you're doing spells and shit like that,
There's no arm attached to it.
yeah, there's no arm attached
Which
to
is
it.
dumb, which is something, again, bringing up Star Trek Bridge Crew, like, the models move with you, which made them very expressive. It was really cool watching all the playthroughs I saw.
You guys play Wii, and that's just a fucking mitten.
But you're not totally immersed in a headset and feel like you're there and then reach for something.
Like, where's the
And-
rest of my arm?
and you got the Wii pointer instead of your arm.
Yeah.
And like in some like it's not so much that it's game breaking or like experience ruining. It's just weird.
It's the first wave still to me. It's,
Right.
They don't
it's,
have it
it's,
defined.
it's weird.
You know?
Like it's just it's an oddity of the platform.
So Bethesda was the big VR shower, which was
I think Bethesda had a good conference overall. Like they had a pretty good showing. It
we
didn't
were watching
surprise anybody.
a much. I think Bethesda's pace. I really liked the Bethesda land,
The theming.
the theming, but it threw off the pacing terribly.
Apparently, from people at the show had said that it was actually really awesome to be there.
Right,
And that people
that's the
watching got
reason why
none of
they
the experience.
Right, they did that, and yeah, must be nice. But they did bring some other good shit with them. Dishonored 2 getting some DLC.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of DLC and like repackaging was a lot of their show with a handful of new things.
Right, so Dishonored 2 DLC looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've heard and been told, it is a standalone DLC. So it's not just that it's an expansion onto the story, but it does stand alone on itself, and it allows you to get that taste of Dishonored 2. The the feeling, the immersion into the game without having to go through and earn everything that you normally would, fill out that tree, make all of the right paths. So it would be great. It's great to have those superpowers and not have to earn everything, because I'll tell you
That's
what.
part of the game to me, though. I need to.
Right, but
get
it's
it, you
a
know?
DLC. It's not.
Right.
It's giving
And-
you a nice little taste. Because like with Prey is another like huge Bethesda game, and going through and filling out each of those trees, it takes a good while. But it is a very gratifying system.
I like the gratification and the character building. I'm all about
Were
it.
Bethesda the ones with the edgy black and white esports segment at the end? I think it was
Yes.
for Quake,
Yes,
for
it
the
was for
Quake
Quake
Arena.
Champions.
Oh, Quake Champions.
Ooh,
that's
new
what it's
Quake
called.
game. I missed that.
Yes,
Holy
it's
shitballs.
It's very mild, like character class inspired. Like it's almost got like the Overwatch thing
It's
going.
Overwatch,
No.
but bloody.
Well,
It's-
no, it's still the team deathmatch setup that Quake's
Quake Arena.
always been. Yeah, right. Like it's
Okay.
still like the Quake Arena thing, but now there's characters who have some special abilities, but they're minor from what I saw.
Well,
So it's not a team-based.
They
Well, it's always gonna.
they gave
a
very
lot of them
little
are team-based.
onto Quake Champions,
Other
but
than the esports
at
thing.
the esports thing, was whatever.
I
And
feel
what-
like they didn't.
They have QuakeCon. I think that would have been much more
Yeah.
appropriate at QuakeCon and given more of a taste as to the game.
I don't know when QuakeCon
Experience.
is, but I know Quake's
It's a
supposed to
couple
be
months
coming
away.
out soon.
I think it's like August or something.
What, the
like
Quake
that.
game?
QuakeCon. Oh, Quake
What's
Champions.
the Quake Champions? Do we know date-wise, kind of?
I think it's soon.
Is that another one of those fall games?
That's one of those things we can look up later on. But they did bridge a gap. But I don't remember what. No, because they did do this one first. They showed off one of the characters in Quake Champions as BJ from Wolfenstein.
Really?
He shows up towards the end of that with his shotgun.
Oh, that's right. There was a new Wolfenstein game that they announced. That was their
Yes.
big one.
That was
the big
That was
one.
one of the ones that, yeah, I forgot that. I knew there was a reason that it was like, oh, Bethesda had a good showing, even if it wasn't, like, impressive or surprising. But, like, what they had was good.
Yeah, they definitely. But that was almost thematic for everyone. Was that they had a solid performance. It was solid. It wasn't anything to write home about.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of them didn't know what to do to fill up the time and budget of what they were given. So they're just like, fuck it, throw YouTubers at it.
It
was very cheap
everyone.
and pandering.
But it was minimal. There weren't too many people that even EA didn't spend much time with people behind computers, which is probably the biggest sin that you can commit. In fact, EA might have beaten out Nintendo, but Nintendo did have a couple moments of, "Hey, I didn't see you there," moments.
Yeah.
But
The treehouse was interesting, but not as funny as the Creator Cave or
Right.
the black and white esports montage Bethesda put up. Like, that was just cringy.
And I don't want to spend too much time on this since we're talking about the creator stuff. Bethesda did have that moment where they, what the hell did they call that thing? For their mods.
Creation
Oh,
Kit.
yeah.
It wasn't Creation Kit, but that's what they normally used. I don't
Right.
remember what it's called.
They're
off the top.
paid. They're paid mod support essentially. Like they're
Well,
doing like
You
freelance
use
hiring.
credits to get mods.
Yeah, it's like a freelance hiring. Well, I think from like the customer end, it needs a lot of work, but from the creator end, like they're almost like hiring mercenary programmers who would typically work for free on the fringes, and Bethesda's trying to support them by offering to legit pay them for good work.
Well, they do. There is a lot of love for them on like Patreon.
Yeah.
There's an entire section on modders. And people
I don't
to
know.
create
Well, I don't know how
mods
much
for
they
games.
actually get.
They make a good.
Some of them might. I don't think most of them do, though.
No, I haven't. I haven't really.
I don't know the stats on that, but I'm betting it's not good because, like, I don't know anybody who donates to, like, Warcraft mods.
You'd be surprised. I mean,
I don't personally know anybody. I mean, like, my circle in that regard's limited, but I mean, like, have you ever donated to mods for, like, Skyrim or anything?
I actually have.
You have?
I have.
I'm impressed. Props to you. I never did, but I also didn't run any mods, so...
Oh
no, I lied. I ran one mod, which was an AI modifier because I hated, and we had talked about this last time, I hated the shitty hard modes of that game, and so I got a bandit modifier that organized them into gangs, gave them personalities and specific traits that like certain gangs employed, as well as modified the base AI of the game, which like the values are already in the game, they just tweaked them to make them more sense. So like spellcasters will intentionally avoid you and melees will intentionally aggress on you.
So this is interesting. We actually found somebody that does play these mods that Bethesda spends so much time talking about. So, as somebody that the last mod that I played was the Simpsons mod for Doom 2.
Holy God!
What
How old are you and why? Jesus.
So, I mean, tell me more about mods because I know very little. I know they adjust the game.
The one I don't remember exactly which one it was, but a lot of what I did when it comes to modding was tweaking, like he had the difficulties. There was overhauls for a whole bunch of things. Like one of the most common ones for Skyrim even is the Civil War overhaul, which made it more dynamic. You could go into a fort, lose the battle, but still, like you lose yourself. You'd wake up in camp but still win, because it depended on the calculations of how you were doing. If you were killing people left and right, but then you fell because they came in with something else, but when you had more people alive then, you'll still win the battle.
It calculated the actual, like, battle elements of who would have won the fight based on how it was going, even without you, because you still have soldiers and commanders in the fight.
And over time, you'd win or lose different forts.
That's
through over the map. And even the map and the holds would change.
That's really cool. And, like, the typical story elements of, like, which Jarl was in charge of it would change, like, or did that?
Yeah, it was only the real, like, minor ones, the ones that weren't involved in the quest. Like, Whiterun wouldn't change.
Right.
You wouldn't automatically win or lose the Battle for Solitude or Winterhold. You still had to go participate in those since they were quest-based.
Okay.
But a lot of the minor holds and fortresses, those would change hands. You would get attacked by patrols. That you would go and explore the wilderness, and at random events, you'd find like 24 on 24 fights between the factions.
Right, which you always found like 2v2s and like 4v4s of those, but they were never major.
And even just walking down the road, sometimes they'd just start swarming in from both sides.
Right,
so that
like
is
they
pretty
were
cool. That's really actually
cool. I like that. I never
things
found
worth
that
paying for. I mean, this is again
and
something
I would donate for that. That's
right,
awesome.
and I think part of what Bethesda's shooting for here is work like that fixes the shitty elements of the game that they either couldn't or didn't have time to do.
Isn't that their job though, to make that game that good?
Well, yes, but the modding community's been doing this for a long time.
Right.
And they do make thematic.
Doom 2, apparently.
Well, they can make thematic differences and stuff like that, too.
But I mean, like, there were major releases. Like, the Total War games are notoriously unplayable until Solid Steel or Sterling Steel. Stainless Steel. That's what it's called. So, Stainless Steel is a mod. I don't know if it's the name of the mod or it's just referred to by the modder. But every Total War game is unplayable until you get this guy's mod. Yeah. And they knew this, so they pay him to do it now. And I think that's kind of what Bethesda's looking for, is like, there's a submission and portfolio process. Like, you're basically getting a job as a mercenary programmer through Bethesda.
We're not giving you an office, but we'll pay you.
Right, but if you come to us with good work that you want to do for our game, we will pay you to do it. And they set, like, checkpoints and milestones, like a real development company. And if you make them, they pay you. If you don't make them, they pay you.
Before I go into the
Yeah.
last Bethesda game, I do want to get any final word.
I will say, some mods are worth paying for, and some are just simple tweaks. But I mean, like the Civil War overhaul, that is definitely something. If they came up with a donate button, I haven't checked on it in a while. Since the last time it was up, he'd taken it down to tweak more of it.
Right.
But if he would ever put a donate button there, I'd donate $5 or $10.
I would too. That's an awesome mod.
Especially if you have a system that can run it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I'd have run that if I had known about
I always had stupid Half-Life mods.
So the last thing for Bethesda, and this really blew me away. This was another game that I can't believe I hadn't played the first one for, and that was Evil Within. Evil Within 2 trailer was just...
Yeah.
Is that like the Silent Hill game?
Yeah,
Yes.
kind of. I'm very much a wuss, and so I don't play a lot of horror games, so I didn't really get invested in...
I played Feel.
What happened?
That game is badass.
What do you mean?
Used to be like Silent Hill was your jam.
Oh, no. Well, I love Silent Hill. And that
I don't
is-
play scary games, but I
that
love
is-
Silent Hill.
Well, Silent Hill is the only exception to that, and because I found the story and the world very enthralling, I suffered through the psychological trauma that it caused me. And let's be clear, it did cause me some, as I had lots of profuse nightmares for a while because of it, which is... It's like, horror either does one of two things for me. It's like, either like the blood, guts, and gore thing, like, doesn't faze me at all. And in that regard, like, it doesn't do its job, and I just don't care. And so, like, if that's the only focus, like, it's... Fuck this game. Like, I don't care. Or
It's like
if
the Rob
it's...
Zombie movies. It's like Blood and Guts.
Right, like, those, like, I just don't, like, I don't find them watchable, like your traditional, like, slasher stuff. Like, I don't find them watchable because they don't do anything for me. But, like, the good psychological stuff, like Silent Hill, really worms its way in there and traumatizes me for a while. So, like, I'm careful about approaching those. I'm something of a wuss in that regard. So, like, I avoid a lot of horror just out of...
So,
I think we're doing a stream of that one.
we should.
I can also do Amnesia, even though that's a little older. But
Yeah.
Yeah, Amnesia was
We're
one
gonna
of
do
those
that.
games, like, I purposefully avoided Amnesia.
I remember going through the first Fear game with you.
I played a couple of the Fear games, and
Oh, those were hilarious.
they were cool. They were a good time, but yeah, they scared the shit out of you sometimes.
Yeah,
That's cool.
like jump
But
scares
that's what it
get
was.
me.
It was a lot of
like
jump
scares sometimes get me, but in most cases, like it just like
Nope, they got me, man. I'm a bitch. But we should podcast that with. I'll pull the PAL out in the house, put on night vision. See you shit. See you shit your pants. Be a good time.
yeah. Well, the thing about it is like
I'm
I'm
Josh
not.
come out of that closet right there.
I'm not scared so much by those types of circumstances. It's those quiet know you're alone. And like you start hearing things you shouldn't be hearing. Like that just like quiet personal paranoia. Like those things get me. But like
Oh, you don't have a headset.
I don't have it. Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do?
Sort of.
What do you yell at us on Overwatch?
I have a microphone and I have really high quality headphones.
Oh,
Okay,
Like
so you
they're
do have
two,
headphones.
they're two pieces. Like I have good headphones and I have a good mic,
why can't you
but
have
they're
a normal
not
set of headphones like everybody else, man?
because I like good audio.
Because I like
quality.
that.
Because I like being able to hear the footsteps of a crouching tracer 20 yards away. That's why I have good
That's
headphones.
7.1.
I don't blame you for that, man. I need those headsets for Siege.
Right, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
something. But yeah, so it's like you're not like I'm not gonna be like visibly weirded out. It's gonna catch me 2 days later while I'm trying to go to sleep. Like that's when it's gonna get me. Or I'm not particularly jumpy, but if you do scare me, I'm literally going to scream like a little girl. Because like I'm
That will be our goal.
right, like well, like I've gotten so many jump scares from my siblings, and my parents were very fond of doing like it was a family game to hide in dark rooms behind doorways and scare each other. So like I'm hyper aware of my presence. So if you manage to get up on me and I didn't notice you coming, I'm gonna scream like a little girl. Otherwise,
After punching you in the face.
it's gonna be hard to do it. But if you do it, the reward is worth it.
Screams like little girl. All right.
Yes.
Good thing
So
I get my
if you manage to scare me in like a jump scare, I'm going to squeal.
outtakes.
Right. It'll be
So-
rewarding if you manage it.
Awesome. All right. That's gonna close out our first half.
All right. Break time.
Do we talk about Wolfenstein at all? Not really. Did we?
We didn't really talk about Wolfenstein. Like,
Do we need to?
I
It's
think-
Wolfenstein.
it's Wolfenstein. I feel like everybody knows what they're getting into with
Yeah.
that one. Like, with that one, watch the trailer. Like, the cinematography of it is so good. And
Yeah,
the
there isn't
present-
much that we can
Right, like,
add.
there's nothing that I could personally add to that game better than the trailer's gonna do itself. Just watch it.
Aside
honestly.
from, wheelchair gunning and shotguns. Shotguns are just... Those shotguns are well made, well put together.
It is amazing at portraying impact.
Yeah, nothing beats a good shotgun.
And
A
id
shotgun where you feel nothing is a bad shotgun.
knows their shotguns.
Yes.
Doom 1, going
Yes.
forward, they know their shotgun.
Yep.
Like, just simply.
But yeah. All right, we'll be right back in a little bit.
Alright.
So welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. We're going to try to speed this up a little bit more. I know we dug in on a couple extra games. I'm going to read off a couple of games, and we're going to decide which ones we're going to focus in on.
All of them.
Might as well start off on the strongest contender of E3 last year, PlayStation. So, though unfortunately, I think we're going to end up... We can probably... Do we need to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn, the DLC?
It's just DLC.
Let's sum it up real quick. Horizon Zero Dawn was a great game. Looks like we're gonna have great DLC moving forward in a new area. Go play it. Might be worth it.
Yeah. Thanks for that sponsorship for Horizon Zero Dawn coming soon.
Yeah.
Detroit Become Human. I mean, we saw a different perspective for that game.
I saw last year's trailer and not see this year.
It
But it
looks-
doesn't seem like my kind of game, so I didn't care enough.
It definitely seemed like one of those games where you have... I'm hoping that you have a million different endings and not you need to play this game 50 million times.
Oh,
I'm
you're gonna have
trying
to
to
play through
remember
it.
the series. I can't remember it off the top of my head. It was the one with the conduits. It had Cole for the first two, and then
I know.
Dustin.
Crackdown?
No.
Infamous.
Just Cause.
Infamous.
That was the third
It
one.
looks more like an Infamous kind of game.
I didn't play Infamous. I thought Infamous looked more like a standard Bethesda-looking game.
No, Infamous
it
was,
was more,
PS
uh,
exclusive.
Yeah, it was more
And,
Grand Theft Auto.
No, it
with
was an open. It
superpowers.
was an
I
open
only
city.
mean, I only
which
mean
is
it
like
more
Crackdown.
so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I only mean it more so.
There were a
in
bunch
the-
that came out
in the choice mechanism of
Well, this...
one or the other.
Yeah, no, this is more of... I would say if you're going to make a more direct comparison to a Mass Effect style game where you make
Yes.
life choices and those choices shape the rest of the game and your interactions with other people. They definitely ramped it up more on because you're creating this movement, or at least this specific character is creating a movement, and whether you decide a more peaceful option, a more aggressive option, or an all-out anarchy between the people that are following you and the city that you are taking part in, your different options. Now, they showed different motions. I'm not sure if this is like a quick time event type of deal where you see different paths or if it allows you to operate independently without having to choose different paths. Or even, I guess, another game that or series that comes to mind are the Telltale games.
More adventure style.
Yeah.
Right, where it gives you a series of different options to do, and then it gives you the story based on it, kind of like a choose your own adventure.
So you just play through a bunch of dialogue, or do you like?
It's not.
You play a game, but when it comes down to it, a character might say, okay, there's a human on the ground that's an insurgent. in one scene, he is handed a gun and he's given the option to be a pacifist, be violent, and just completely walk away. Like, you get different choices.
Right.
Similar to Mass Effect, or like I said, the reason it reminds me of Infamous is mostly Second Son. In Second Son, you come to splitting decisions where you can kill someone or you can let them live, and it changes the story.
Right.
Because whether they're there or not changes events when they would be relevant.
So I mean, this looks story-wise, it looks like a great game, but gameplay-wise, we saw probably more last year, as your players trying to uncover and be more of a detective. I'm not sure. I think this is a 2018 game, so hopefully we'll see more. Since it's PlayStation, maybe we'll see more PSX, something more to talk about there. And then they kicked off the conference with God of War, which
God of War.
God
of War.
It's God of War. I mean, Jesus, you know what that is.
Well, not
Not everybody.
right.
It's like
This-
PlayStation's biggest.
We do have a very new generation of gamers coming into this.
Right, but I mean, as for a God of War series game, this seems a lot more pulled back. They didn't spend, time hacking and slashing hordes of enemies. I know when they did, for the third game, they were a little bit more reserved too in their initial presentation when they did the whole scene on the back of Gaia where they just focused in on a couple of enemies and his interaction with them and the quick time events, and they had that whole initial demo. But this game period with the presentation that we had last year to this year seems a lot more focused on different styles of combat as opposed to just
Right.
pulling out your blades of chaos.
And just wrecking everything.
I'm not sure how I feel about the throwing axe.
I think having a ranged attack that allows to come back, there's a
You don't have your chains.
there's a
It's
top,
something to.
right.
Well, I get that. It's just like, it's a weird mechanic.
It's new, so
There
it's
is
going
a-
to freak you out.
there's a top-
See,
It's
Yeah,
not.
so
It's not that it
close-minded.
freaks me out. That exactly. I'm such a no. It's just like it's. I don't know. Like it looks awkward in a way. Like
You
why
always
does this
throw
like?
it.
It's a hatchet. Why does it boomerang?
Well, now that it might have a lot to do with maybe Norse.
Right, and like it might be something tied with that. I don't have a point of reference
Right.
there. I don't remember any weapons involving magical throwing hatchets, but
But there is in Norse.
It isn't. I don't believe it's the
Mythology.
first weapon he's had that he's thrown either. Besides Blades of Chaos.
Right, but for Norse mythology, you have Thor's hammer.
I don't think it acted like Mjolnir.
So whenever
in
you
the
throw
Marvel
something-
universe.
Whenever you throw a weapon in Norse mythology, it comes back to you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Marvel Thor's Mjolnir is really relevant to
I don't
the
know.
original Mjolnir. Like, I'm not sure how that
believe-
works.
But the whole system beyond
Beyond that.
for Mjolnir
Yeah.
is that it is directly almost soul linked to
right,
the person
like
that
the weapon
wields
itself
it.
is sentient in a way.
So, it's him calling back the weapon. The
Right.
weapon has its own personality,
Yeah.
and I like how when he does call it back, the weapon reacts to it, not just physically in the sense that it trajectories back to him, but it does have that glow to it and that feel. And I mean, when we're on to the weapons, what about that shield?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like the fold-out Spartan shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Couldn't help but remind me of the sky disc from what?
I know what you're talking about.
Tailspin.
Yes.
Yep.
Right, it's like, oh, he's got that as a shield. That's neat. All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's another game where I believe that is also... No! Holy shit.
What?
We're getting that this year, aren't we?
Which one?
God of War.
That
early
one-
2018.
It's early
it?
2018?
It's early
For
2018.
some reason, I thought that was
That's
November.
okay, though. That's
Like, if
alright.
that was a holiday release, it would have
But
made sense
all
to
the-
be. But
Yeah, well, all the
Okay.
new weapons and stuff. That's gonna make it a whole new game.
So that's another game that PSX we're going to see. I know this is a a deep cut for you.
For me,
For you. And you know what we're about to talk about. Deep cut, Sony,
what, Shadows?
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, like, my love for Shadow of the Colossus is pretty unbridled. And looking at this one, like, I'm not sure, like, I'm literally going to assume, like, everything about the game is going to be exactly the same. As far as, like, mechanics and approach and themes and story and music. Tuned up, obviously. Like, it's definitely visually improved over the PS2 version. Like, there's no doubt about that. Like, everything is totally re-rendered. It's not just cleaned up and HDified. But the thing that weirds me out about it is the first Shadows, a big part of its aesthetic was its very faded and grainy, washed out watercolor look. And the new version of the graphics are definitely very clean and sharp. And my only concern is that it's going to lose a little bit of what made the visual aesthetic work.
Right. And, you know, that was the result of the era. You know,
Right. And I mean, like, the
that,
game was so far ahead of its time that the PS2 couldn't even run it properly. And, like,
which was part of the reason why, and one of the things that is being talked about a lot is that they weren't able to complete that game to the... I can't remember what the designer's name was.
Team Ico. I don't remember the lead's name, but I remember the team. Team Ico.
But he wanted to be able to do more, and that's why there were parts of that game that were left empty, and that there were colossi missed out of that game.
Really?
That were taught. Yeah, there were something like 3 or 4 colossi that didn't make the game.
Okay.
That the
They just couldn't
original
get 'em
designer. Right.
See, I never heard
due
of
to
that,
time
actually.
and
That's funny.
due to limitations.
Is that a $60 game since it's a remake?
Yes. It's not a remake in the sense of, like, they just cleaned it. Like, they literally rebuilt every element of this game from
It took
the
them 2
ground up.
PlayStation generations to do it.
This is one of those fan service games. I mean, look at Blaster
like-
Master Zero. It's
Like, think like what they're
30
doing
years.
with Final Fantasy VII. Like,
Yeah.
it's that kind of a remake. But, like, they're not well, in the sense of, like, the visual...
Style.
The visuals. Like,
Yes.
instead of just, like, well, there was a PS3 re-release.
But you're getting the same story and the same gameplay, just
Yeah, they couldn't touch that. Like, the thematic and story and music elements of that game are, my opinion, flawless. Like, what it tries to do, it does. And it does it incredibly well. Like, every aspect of that game, visually, aesthetically, like, just worked. Like, the themes, the story, everything tied very closely into one another. Like, everything, like, even the flaws of that game, like, some of the animations are kind of janky, the controls are a little awkward, but even those fit the themes of the game of being a small, untrained boy in a world that he is not ready for.
Right.
And so, like, he's very clumsy, like, that pays into the controls,
It's
he's weak. Like,
very Lost Guardian like.
right, well, it's the same team.
Right. And that's part of the hesitation is that if they try to, it's going to feel too much like the Lost Guardian, especially with that artistic sense.
Yeah, well, like, Last Guardian even had some of that, like, washed out, faded watercolor look, more so than what I've seen from the trailer presentation of this one. And maybe it's just they haven't quite gotten, like, the filters and stuff over it yet, so, like, this is the base models of what it looks like, and they're gonna, like, add that, like, grainy filter texture to it, because they did that with Silent Hill as well.
But, yeah, that's another game that we're going to see much more.
A Silent Hill?
No,
Oh,
Shadow of the Colossus.
yeah. I'm
We're gonna see much
positive
more
we're gonna
of
see
that.
a lot more of that.
That's a
develop over time.
2019 game.
Yeah.
PlayStation seems weak on the exclusives, don't they?
Sony had a
What
lot
they
of
have
exclusives,
is-
actually.
Yeah, they have more actual exclusives as opposed to Microsoft.
But a lot of their exclusives look like they're the same kind of game. Like, there's a lot of, like, platform action style games.
Well, and then, but you've got, and the next one going into is a series that's been around and makes, they're the GOTY series is, Uncharted.
Right, and that's what I like.
Big fan of them.
There's if I remember correctly, they had 2 or 3 games that were kind of in that style.
If you want to play an action movie, that's Uncharted. They were really cool games. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
but it wasn't as diverse as some of the other ones. Like Microsoft had racing and shooting and action,
maybe that's
and
what it
indie
is.
and
They seem
RPG,
like
they had a really diverse list,
Right.
which I'm cool with because the way that they're promoting their current systems and the way that they're handling things, that's all coming to PC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So everything on
That's-
Xbox is now going to be Windows 10 as well. So
I don't want to. I can't wait to talk about Microsoft. I might actually. I'm conflicted on whether or not we're going to do Nintendo or Microsoft last because there's a lot to talk about on both of them.
yeah,
But yeah, Uncharted. I mean, it's a very pretty game. I
It's always pretty.
don't know what you can really talk about Uncharted. If you've seen one Uncharted game, you've played them all. They're all amazing, and this
at least
one,
mechanically.
Mechanically, they're good.
Yeah.
I like
Visually.
the story,
Yeah.
visuals. If you want to play like a fun action movie, that's really what it seems like. And
it's same thing that they've been doing.
they're a good time.
And this last game that Sony brought. I don't know how I feel about it. It got IGN put it as their E3 winner, and so did a lot of people. It's really something that I've flip-flopped on. This was a game that I was excited to see, and now the more that I've seen of it, the less that I actually like, and that's Spider-Man.
Yeah, I
There's
was
been
actually
some
going to
really
bring that
good-
up when you mentioned QuickTime events earlier and something else. I was like, QuickTime events, they're like, Spider-Man?
There's a lot of good and bad Well, there's not many good ones, but there's a lot of bad Spider-Man games.
No, the
I mean-
opposite. Spider-Man's the one series
No,
that has put out.
which one-
There's been some hits and
There's
misses.
some I
There's been
like,
hits
some
and
I,
misses.
yeah, exactly.
But-
So it's always been like, eh.
The first Spider-Man game had a lot of pop-in graphics, which was part of the norm
But
for
back,
large
back then,
games.
that's what you get.
Yeah.
On was it PS2? Or?
It was
That's
PS2.
PS2.
Okay, because I know Spider-Man 2 is PS2.
Yeah, the first Spider-Man movie game was a very early PS2 title, and
Yeah.
the second one wasn't long after it, but it was PS2.
And it's
It was PS2 and GameCube.
it's probably still one of the next to this one.
I remember playing Spider-Man bowling on GameCube with one of my friends.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not every, but out of the superhero franchise next to Batman,
Yeah.
Spider-Man's.
And it's
Oh,
like the
that
one
was-
thing I gotta
that's
say is it
iconic.
looks like the web swinging thing looks really good in what they've shown, but it also looks very set piece, quick time event heavy.
Right.
So it's like I'm not sure how that's gonna play out because I genuinely don't like those types of games.
Why? There should be more comic book games, and Square Enix is doing this, but it's such a good setup. Like you don't have to develop
Right.
anything. You already have your characters and your villains and the stories.
Right, all you
It's
gotta
just
do is put something. Yeah, well, I
Right.
get what he's saying. Like, you don't have to do a lot of in-depth world and character building. You can just jump into it and do your thing because people know these
yes,
characters.
they're already it's already done for you.
But yeah, I feel like they've missed the mark on that
Yeah.
one. Like, they tend to just do a lot of shoddy multiplayer action games without much in the way of depth to them.
So that one.
And I don't need a lot of depth in every single game that I play. Not
No,
every game,
certainly not.
every
But
game
I
needs
mean,
to be an
superheroes
Uncharted.
have proven to be a
What-
good medium
what-
for telling good stories.
Why would that win game of E3?
because
Spectacle.
it was very pretty, and
So with a lot of other games,
It was
though.
pretty. It was very fluid.
and everybody has been looking forward to Spider-Man. And this is where, personally, I would disqualify Spider-Man. I don't look at QuickTime events as
compelling gameplay?
as gameplay. And I haven't gotten a chance to play Spider-Man and, that level that they had shown where he was bouncing around and stuff, to the point of how much was that player-based and how much of that was predetermined. So it looked like there was a lot of interaction with the environment,
Right.
which is great unless if my only option is to throw that beam at that guy, or if hanging the guy from the rafters
is
something that
just a contextual button prompt.
right, and swinging him up if it's just an up and triangle. Oh, now he goes up there. This is what happens. Or if I push X and every
more,
time I
in
push
other words,
it
you're
does
asking,
something
is
that,
it more?
Well, God of
I'm
War,
trying to think of a
God of War does this stuff.
Yeah, is it more
I mean-
Kingdom Hearts versus Breath of the Wild, where like Breath of the Wild, things are very organic and happen naturally through your skill versus something that's just like a contextual action.
I'd say Kingdom Hearts 2 if we're going to be that technical.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like Kingdom Hearts 2, where it's just like every enemy just has like a contextual button prompt to do something to.
Right.
Triangle win.
Yeah.
So-
Or is it going to be more along the lines of, do you have that organic gameplay development from the environment outside of the QuickTime events? Because the QuickTime events look good.
Oh yeah.
But also, like, what are the repercussions of, like, is it one of those things like that scene where he's, like, running up the beam and, like, clearing the debris and, like, stopping things from falling? Like, if you miss triangle on one of those, is the whole event over? You fail and start it over.
Right. It's just like God of War would be.
Right. God of War.
Well, like, God of War often contextualizes things in a way that, like, if you fail it, the monster just swaps you to the ground
Right.
and you start over. Whereas,
Not
like,
in every.
It depends on the event.
in most,
It depends on the event. But
in
yeah.
most, it usually contextualizes it in that way. And this is one of those situations where that's not possible. Like, if you miss one of those beams, like, that's it. Like, that's done.
Yeah. And we need to see more about what the rest of the gameplay is like.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see more of that
What
game before I
direction?
give it any real...
They're gonna.
I
go
can't
with
believe
the
they gave
story.
that to be the win, though.
That's why personally I think that
I'm not
is
saying
a
it's going to be
disqualifier.
shit, but I mean, I don't know.
If there are consequences to failing QuickTime events, I feel it would play out better.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and I'd agree with that, but it also depends
But
on
I-
the severity
I
of the
don't
consequences.
mean like
'cause they can
starting
get
over.
right, but they can get frustrating really quickly if
Or
yeah,
your
if it's
your
highly
impact with the
punishing.
city. If the city looks down upon you and it creates more
Yeah,
stress
that's
throughout it.
giving a thematic and storytelling element to those failures
That's
would
what I
be
mean.
a much more palatable. Like,
Yes.
you suck at being Spider-Man and now everybody hates you.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that would be an interesting approach.
Everything that
would be a
Ubisoft
better
wanted
approach.
to do with Assassin's Creed, with your reputation.
Right.
Right. And that actually, like, I'd love to see them go that route, but somehow I doubt they will.
Right, and that's.
That
But
would be
I have
cool.
heard hints of that's what they want to do with it.
Yeah.
And if they incorporate that with QuickTime events, I would give them a little bit more leeway on
Oh,
them.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I'd hate them a whole lot less because there's
Right.
that stress and pressure, but the consequences of failure are emotional rather than gameplay.
Right. If my whole thought was now I need to do this freaking QuickTime event again for probably the third or fourth time because I have to get it right because that's the predetermined
Right.
consequence.
Then it's
If-
going to be a big turnoff. It's going to be a big turn away
Right.
for a large portion of the game.
And that's the part of like a God of War that I personally don't like.
Worst
I like,
offender, Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Yes.
I absolutely favorite or second favorite game series behind Metroid. Could not play that game. Hated it so much. Oh my god. Like, my rage at Kojima for what he did to that series is absolutely unparalleled. But anyway.
Yeah. So that's Sony.
Yeah.
No, I
They
just,
had a decent presentation.
it was good,
Nothing
but
like...
I just can't believe that one. I'm like, God of War and Uncharted would definitely be that to me, but that's just me.
That's
what do
not.
I know?
They didn't just win Sony. They won E3.
I know,
with that
but
game.
like,
There,
there's better games.
like,
to
people
me.
were saying, like, that showing was the overwhelming popular one.
yeah, which is
It's weird.
Because the movie's coming out, everybody's excited.
Maybe. That could be part
So-
of it.
how about that Xbox?
Oh God, do we have to?
They had a very
We're gonna do it.
very good and very diverse lineup, which
So-
is, like I
Well,
mentioned.
let's talk about Xbox X because
Not a good name.
Not a good
It's
name.
Xbox One X, which is hilarious because it
it's an
becomes an
acronym for
anagram
Xbox.
for Xbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess we could just so it's like, well,
So
no,
it's-
we're just gonna call it the Xbox, and it's
Yeah,
like,
you've
no, we're
come-
not. We're gonna call it the triple Xbox.
Well, you can only
should have
say
just
that
called it Triple X.
they've come
Yeah.
full circle.
It's the
Ha! Yeah, 360. Get it? It's all in there.
What the hell?
it is the AOL screen name of
Yes.
or MSN.
They're like, my screen name was taken. Keep adding X's till it takes it.
yes,
So it's what? It's Liquid Cool,
XJoX.
right?
Is it?
Yes, I believe it's Liquid Cool.
It is
It's
I
a pretty
think-
high tech system.
the way that they presented it was especially if we compare it to how Sony released the PS Pro,
Yes.
so much better.
So
I watched the Sony press conference for the PlayStation Pro, and it was the most awful. How Dilbert always explains sitting in press conference or in conferences with the title cards and going through everything. That is how I felt watching PlayStation reveal the Pro. It was. Now we're going to discuss HDR. For all you people that don't know about HDR, this is what HDR does. This is
Hold on.
yeah.
Okay, there we go. Hold on, let me swap the slides on the projector.
And it was just so many slides, and it was so much talk about what HDR was.
well, it was
And
new at the
how
time.
it
To be
was-
fair, E3 is intended to be an industry conference.
this wasn't an industry conference. This was Sony saying, "Hey, we're going to talk to you about the PlayStation 4 Pro."
Oh, I understand
just
that,
all-
but I think maybe they came into it woefully underprepared of the expectations of the public and approached it more as a business conference like it used to be.
This
Well-
seems like what it seems like.
Again, that was what they did with that. But when Sony revealed the PS4 Pro, it was all about talking about the PS4 Pro. Microsoft showed up, and they showed up with games.
Right, and I think that's a big selling point as well as, talking about backward compatibility.
And they did
and
everything.
HD upscaling
Yeah.
on all their old games. Like
Well, that's
they
what they
came in with a good
So-
show, but
So competing with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox Triple X, whatever the hell it is, are they almost at the same point, like tech wise?
Oh, no.
Xbox
blows it out, right?
blows it away.
This is
Like it's got like real.
It's got
NVIDIA
real
chips.
Yeah, it's got
Like,
real
it's the-
meat to
this
it.
is a $1,200 computer put into a $500 Xbox.
How? Because Microsoft
Contracts.
owns everything.
Yeah, because they own a lot of their own industry, but
Right.
they're also notorious for selling their systems at a serious loss with the intent to make it up on games and peripherals.
Yeah.
Which is
Like
good
that's a
mo-
very
yes.
distinctly American
And-
business
Which
strategy.
is why they pushed the entire show exclusives, which I'm not gonna get into that on this podcast. But
Because it's no more than
I-
the PlayStation was, right? When it came out. That was
I thought-
500 also.
Did it
right?
come out at 5? I think it did.
no, it came out at 4.
Was it?
I remember
$3.99 or
specifically
$4?
because it was $3.99 because
I thought
I
it
was
was
watching
five.
somebody
I
else's
think the
pod-
PS3 came up at almost 5.
Was that one of them was like, holy crap.
Yeah, one of the PlayStations was like, "Oh my god, what are you people thinking?"
But I can remember this because it was a direct question that I was watching a podcast, and they asked the hosts, "What would you buy? Would you buy the PlayStation VR, which was originally slated for $400 with peripheral, unless it was $500 and they included everything in it, but it was like $400 for that, $400 for the PlayStation 4 Pro, or you saved money and you ended up getting a TV that had HDR."
Right.
So I believe it was $399 price, but I mean, let's be honest, it wasn't. The PlayStation 4 Pro was nothing like the power of the Xbox X.
No.
So does that mean that this thing's going to beat us PC guys to death?
No.
No,
Definitely not.
absolutely not.
If the-
Like, it's still not quite up to snuff with even, like, current PCs.
$500
not
for
even
a bomb
high.
ass computer though.
It is a
That's-
bomb-ass computer, yeah, no doubt. But I mean, like, I think the biggest criticism of Xbox, especially the Pro or the One X, is I'm not quite sure who it's aimed at, because the only people who really are going to be concerned about things like frame rate, 4K resolution, etc. on those types of games already have powerful gaming rigs that this system doesn't really compete with.
I'll tell you what. Before I decided to drop the money on my PC and my gaming rig, and I had seen something like this. Now, again, for me, it would be games are my number one priority. But, you know, if PlayStation put out something like this, I'd be on top of it, which is why I own a Pro.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things where I absolutely love Microsoft for allowing everything that they put out to be on my PC as well.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing, is already being a PC owner. Like, there's no impetus to buy this device simply because everything that's on it is also going to be on my PC in better resolution and frame rate in most cases, and I don't need a $4,000 TV to play. Because a big part of the features of this is the 4K Blu-ray.
Yep.
And that requires a very high-end TV that really most people don't have access to.
Well, those came down a lot in price.
I would argue against that.
They came
4K
down.
TVs are...
They're not like
They're coming down, but they're not there yet.
They're not
Because,
there.
I mean,
No,
I just priced them out, and like cheap ones are still $1,500.
No, they're not.
You can get one for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I bought my most recent 4K TV, full HDR, was last year's LG, and I paid $600 for it.
Really?
For a 50-inch.
I got a Samsung one. That was about
Okay.
$15 now.
Yeah.
But
They've
In any
come
case.
down considerably in price on that.
I would like to know the actual tech for $500 that they're giving you, because
It's
a good gaming rig like that's probably
What is it? It's quad core, 16 gigs
Right.
of RAM.
6 teraflop, or no,
Yeah.
one teraflop.
The teraflops.
no,
Disgusting.
it's like 12 teraflops. It's something.
What drive?
It's high.
Are you serious?
Teraflops? That's the processing speed.
Terabytes.
Terabytes.
Fuck me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, teraflops is processing
Too
speed.
many tera things.
Yeah.
I love how
Um,
you're sitting down next to a programmer and just throwing words out like you're on an episode of Archer, or not Archer, Green Arrow.
Yeah. But
So it's
it's a fairly powerful set. It's like
well, the
it's.
graphics card's what's gonna get you.
I
you
don't
know,
know what kind of graphics
it's probably
chip it's
some
running.
kind of
I'm
G-
pretty positive it's running Intel NVIDIA.
Right.
I don't know what card it's running.
It's-
If I were to guess, I'd say it's probably a Titan 1080.
Really?
At least
because
that
how they
range.
how they
It's
put
a-
that
I
in a
think it-
$500 machine?
No, 1080 is too much. I think it's either a 1060 or 1070.
Okay, but I meant like in that line, like that
Right.
range.
Yeah.
Whether it was that one or
I
one
think it's
slightly
I think
lower
they
than
have
it.
the
The
1070.
1060 or the 1070. That would make sense. Like I said,
I think
like,
it's an 80.
I don't remember what they were running in it, but I mean, like, yeah, at that point, like, if it's
32
running,
gigs of RAM as well. It's I mean it
oh, is it 32?
Yeah, it's
Damn.
Even if
it's
Xbox
32 or 16.
So
either way,
Xbox is selling at best, maybe at cost, probably below
No,
cost.
it's
like
way
I
It's
said.
below.
well below
gotta
cost
be.
because if it's running even at 1060, 2/3 of that price point is just the card.
But it just got put out too that none of the developers are even going to bother pushing it, which is really
Why not?
unfortunate for them.
No, they're not getting any third-party support for it.
No, they're
Why?
getting third-party support, but they're not going to develop games.
They're not going to push
for
directly
specifically.
for its
right,
power
unless
range.
Microsoft is paying them a lot of money.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, maybe they
Why
have.
wouldn't you
Well,
take that
again,
extra?
depending on the
Because
architecture of the system,
You can put it on the. You're building it for the PlayStation 4 Pro. You're building it for the most popular system, and
Right.
why spend all that extra time?
Well, depending on the
operating?
architecture of the system, it might just be able to run essentially PC versions of it.
Yeah, which, again, hopefully for them, because
Because
as much as I like to rag on Xbox, I mean, they're good competition.
right,
they
like
put-
it'd
they
be
do
good to
put out
have the
the
competition in the market for sure.
I can't believe that market isn't. It's gotta be close. If PlayStation does beat it, it can't be by much.
It
They crush them. Microsoft is
Is it that bad?
Microsoft is not a strong competitor this generation with
Yeah.
the One.
Last generation.
Like, I know
was
PlayStation
different.
1, but I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I
Like-
mean, yeah, no, like they dwarfed them pretty badly,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
especially overseas.
you know, it was one of those things where, yeah, Microsoft came in. Forza, beautiful game,
Beautiful games. Love the games.
shows up, brings this brand new Porsche.
They're like, what? The BMW's not ready? Bring the Porsche. instead."
No,
We'll
this
bring the
was-
Super
this was
Beetle.
This was a big deal
Yeah,
in people that play driving simulation games.
Porsche's not often.
Well,
present in
they
those.
were they always get these contracts.
Right.
So I think it was Project Cars was the one that had the Porsche contract. It finally got released to the general public. Forza went in, and they got this contract. They bring this brand new car, and they're all about the car. Turns out that car is also in Gran Turismo. So what they ended up doing was they promoted this brand new thing for their competition as well.
Well, Gran Turismo, they had the rough, right? It wasn't a Porsche. It was some kind of knockoff.
But now they're getting the Porsche
Now
as well.
Porsche
And
is
it-
legit.
Well, RUF is a legitimate manufacturer. They're not a knockoff. They
Well, it's not. It's a Porsche.
yeah, but it's essentially a Porsche. But so we already talked about Super Lucky's Tale a little bit. That was the game developed through Oculus that they're porting
Okay.
onto. And again, you know, that big, I don't know if it was a buyout or deal that they got with Oculus, and they're not seeming to do anything with it. I have written down Metro. For some reason, I can't remember what Metro is.
Metro is the underground post-apocalyptic
Yes,
in a
that's a
subway
PC
Russian
game.
horror shooter.
That's a PC game.
Like, it's got subtle horror elements, but it's got survival elements.
Is that on Xbox now?
It's
It's
coming.
been... I
This is,
believe it's always been an
Oh, really?
Xbox/PC title.
I know
And
that-
it occasionally, I think, but don't quote me on it, got ports to PS3 and 4.
Okay, so that's the one where they had...
There was a commercial of
The
like
two
people
guys
flooding
running-
into the subway.
Was this the one that you had the... or was that Days Gone, where they had the option of picking up more people into your group?
No, there's no grouping. Both games, they're based on a book series about the end of the world, essentially,
Okay.
after nuclear war, but it's told from a Russian perspective. And it all takes place in the Russian metro, which was the only place that people survived.
Okay.
And, like, a big part of the mechanic is, like, the surface is still heavily irradiated and dangerous, so, like, you need environmental suits to go up above.
So, Fallout with zombies.
Sort of.
Fallout with subway monsters.
It's a very different atmosphere from Fallout. It's
it's very-
much closer to like
Doom? Like
no,
dark and creepy?
Like it's dark and creepy, but it's also very isolated and tense. Like it's
Early
very
Resident Evils.
yeah,
kind of.
it's
Yeah.
very, it's
Okay.
very, it's very dark. It's very confining, but at the same point, like there's plenty of places where it's open. There's survival crafting elements. Ammo is used as both a resource and a currency. Like there's a lot of really cool and unique ideas in these games.
So is that a new Metro, or is that just...
It is
oh,
a
that's
new Metro.
It's
It is a
one.
new one. It is the third one, and I guess from what I remember from it, it's going to be significantly later, and they're starting to reclaim the surface.
Okay.
So it's
Oh,
gonna
cool.
be
I
gonna be less dark and underground.
I believe a lot of the plot is based on them finding a new home outside of the subway where they can be
Right.
safe.
So,
Which is why
but
it's
was this
Exodus.
not the one
Right, it's
where
called Metro,
the
Metro Exodus.
where the guys were going through and then they pick up somebody else and then you have that decision making? What was that game?
That was Detroit.
No. It was a survival horror type game, and they were going through and they did have like the zombie horde and stuff like that. And then they went through and they had the option to pick somebody up, and then you had different like food ration elements where you're trying to survive through it, and then the one guy had to decide whether he was going to kill off this girl or not.
I don't remember that one.
That's
It's definitely
remember
not
this
that.
He decides to save her, and then she ends up saving him as he's getting surrounded by a horde.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Metro's
not-
not big on
Lost
zombies.
No, that's a Days
Okay.
Gone game, right? Isn't that
Maybe.
Is that
zombies?
Days Gone?
could
It might be, but it's
Days-
definitely
No, it
yeah.
wasn't Days Gone.
Metro's not big on zombies.
No,
like
they
it's
have,
more, it's bigger on like the Fallout style, like
Okay.
horror mutants thing.
Yeah. Well, they
But,
could have
like-
been horror mutants that I just
Yeah,
wasn't paying much
but even then, like it's not hordes of things. It's just a pervasive general hostility.
Alright. I'll go
It's
around.
just angry critters.
Right, like
with three
everything is murderous and dangerous and dark and
Right.
just foreboding, but it's
kinda
not.
Half-Life-y
It's not.
monsters.
You're being hunted by mass.
Is that a 2018 game as well?
I don't remember. I would imagine.
I would
I'd
think
imagine too. It's currently still classified in the ESRB as rating pending, so
Okay.
Is it?
we all know
So,
it's going to be
It's gonna be M.
17
Hey,
plus.
how do you get an A? By the way, I
So-
saw that, but I never seen it.
A what?
An A.
There's
It exists.
only one game that I know that got changed from M to A, and that was the computer release specifically
AO.
of San Andreas.
Yeah.
Really?
That was
Um,
because
Because of a
they
mod.
they had a
game's
sex
code.
scene that they decided wisely not to use, but the way that programming works, like removing it is harder than just trapping it off. And people found it, and like
Oh.
through modding, you could
Re-enable it.
you could re-enable it through modding, but it wasn't technically part of the game. You had to know it was there and then mod it into the game for it to work. But because it was technically part of the original code, it ended up falling under the rating system. And like it existed on the PS2 version as well. Like it was just part of the code.
You just
And then
couldn't reach it.
You just couldn't do anything about it.
And then Hatred was also an AO game. An AO game.
So that's the only one I know that started M and became A.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Hatred was AO, but that was intentional on the developer's part.
Right.
Like they were doing it to make a statement,
Yeah, well.
even if it wasn't. Their statement was literally just games should be games, and the violence doesn't need to be contextual. That's just what games are.
Yeah.
Like stop making them about something else. And while it's not a good statement, it was a statement. Take it as you will.
Yeah. Going complete 180 on trying to make a statement and trying to be something more than it actually is. How about Terry Crews
Terry Crews.
and Crackdown 3?
I don't care in that regard. I just want him to be Doomfist.
Everyone who plays Overwatch. does.
Everybody, he needs to be Doomfist. Like there was a really hilarious bit of like his Old Spice commercial where he's like, "Yeah, building punch, Doom kick," like he's doing that, and like they voiced it over like Reinhardt in Overwatch, and like there's like one of the endings where he's just like ah, screaming like over Reinhardt's charge, and it's like, why is this not a thing?
Terry Crews is a national treasure. I think we can all agree upon that right now. Terry
Oh, yeah.
Crews.
He's definitely up there.
He has joined The Rock on the national treasure
Yes.
list.
Fair enough.
You have our Lord and Savior Chuck Norris
Oh yes.
with national treasures of Terry Crews, The Rock.
The
The
internet
Rock is
memes.
freaking huge, by the way. What the hell does that man eat? Holy shit.
He works out.
My god. Like, he would... I'm a little guy, so he would just crush me in seconds.
And
It was
all-
like, why do you
Also, that's what she said.
Oh my god. Did we do that? Really? We had... Okay.
We did. Hey, if you lay it up, we're gonna hit it.
That's also what she said.
Oh, okay, probably get 20 more of them by the time we're done.
So,
We've just slid right off.
hey, I'm just trying to contextualize our final segment of Nintendo. Nothing like some childish humor for some childish games.
Oi.
Which, for the most part, Nintendo wasn't really bringing the titles this year.
No.
I mean,
They did.
brought the games,
Yeah.
but 4 of their games have working titles.
But that's okay. You know, we knew they were going to happen.
Yeah,
anyway.
but of those
You know?
4, 3 of them only had teaser trailers. It's like, here's the logo. Maybe.
You know, you're going to have Yoshi and Kirby. You know what games are going to come out.
No,
I mean,
it was half enough.
Half and half. Oh, so it was 2. All right.
Yeah.
when you buy a Nintendo, you expect those games to happen. So it's not
Yeah,
news.
fair enough. But it's like, if the games have quick turnaround and aren't soaking development resources that could be better spent on bigger, more important titles, sure, crank out the Yoshi and Kirby games. But I mean, like, realistically, we've had, like, what, 6 Kirby games in 3 years. And, like,
I will take every single one of those.
Me too.
I don't love Kirby.
How can you not? It's like a little pink fluffy thing that flaps its
No,
arms.
like, I like the character, but the games themselves don't do much to differentiate themselves from one another.
Everybody always says that, but there are always
There's always something else.
there's always something unique and special.
Oh, well, I'm not arguing.
I beat Robobot. I felt the exact same way, and then I looked at Robobot. I'm like, hey, this looks like fun. 20 hours later, hey, I beat it. That was an awesome game. And that's
It's
how
just like
most
him
of
and
the
his
Again,
games. It's just
I
like
will
him.
play a Kirby game. They're fun, they're interesting, like, especially, like, but it's like Nintendo wheeled out a bunch of 4-player side-scrolling platform
it's
games.
Yoshi that I don't
it's-
really.
It's just
And,
like
like,
him
I
and
like
his...
the Yoshi games. Again, probably for the same reason you guys like the Kirby games. Like, they're fun, they're interesting, but, like, they don't, even then, like, they're still, like, there's always, like, one new quirk or, like, one new mechanic, but it's never, like, the general level design tends
Okay.
to... And even
Look at
Mario.
look at his Mega Man games. You know what a
Right.
Mega Man game is. You know what you're gonna play.
Oh,
It's-
absolutely.
it's-
like,
it's still
you know
fun
what
as
you're,
hell,
you know
but
what
you
you're
know.
getting going in.
Yes.
They're a great in between.
They've made 16 of them.
What?
No,
Mega
18.
Man?
18.
Mega Man games?
Core-ish Mega Man games.
Yeah.
So
Mega Man and
and
Mega
he
Man.
has. And you
Yoshi
probably
and
have all
Kirby
of them,
games
right?
are just
I
a good
do.
in between.
Yeah.
When you finish this one, you're waiting for this one. You don't have much to fill the space. You're just like, okay, well, I'll just play something, kill the time.
I don't think that the Kirby team is large enough to be like we're pulling resources off something else.
No, and I don't imagine Kirby is, but Yoshi is a mainline Nintendo thing. So it's like they're not, because Kirby's done by
That's right.
HAL.
Kirby's HAL, yeah.
Right, which is a subset of Nintendo at this
Right.
point, but it is its own studio,
Yeah.
whereas like Yoshi is part of Nintendo. But I mean, like this one's got a
I think
cool
Yoshi-
like paper aesthetic, which is neat. But
Egg throwing dinosaurs are always fun. It's
Yeah.
just like
oh, absolutely, like I said, like I like the Yoshi games quite a bit. I always have, but at the same point, like.
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Yeah, the potential for a console Pokemon, but I feel like
So we no longer have to leave our house to catch these critters.
right. Well, you can though because it's on a portable console.
It is. You're right.
Because the Switch is mobile. Like that's really
What game
interesting.
are you talking about?
Huh?
What game are you talking about?
What,
Which
Pokemon?
one?
Yeah.
Which one?
What do you mean?
Red, yellow, blue, indigo, violet.
Having to leave our house for
Oh, I said you. Oh, he was talking about Pokemon Go.
Pokemon what?
Go what?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
You shall not be named. No, but
Niantic's ambitions.
yeah,
So how many Pokemon are going to be in that one then? Like, can you catch them all? Or is that just like-
7,000.
Yeah.
Well, they did also add well, this was on the Pokemon thing a week prior. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, coming out later this year.
They're like, quick, we need a
So
new
we-
batch of Pokemon.
so we
It's
ran
like,
out of
okay, here's
Well, what they're doing,
Lampy.
We ran out of
And
color, so now we're going to start
Chairbro.
using... Yeah.
right?
It's getting ridiculous, isn't it? Like, I mean, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but...
I
Get
still
me the
love them.
Swedish intern. He'll name us the new Pokemon.
There
Like,
you go.
But they're all great games.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
I
it.
played it when there was 150 of them. Now there's like 2,000, and I'm like, I can't catch them all. Sorry.
I'd love to, but I
I
have a
just don't
family.
have that dedication.
I'm not a 10-year-old. The framing of those games around being a 10 to 12-year-old is
Right.
appropriate because they're the only ones with the lifestyle to catch them all.
Yeah.
There are 2 people in this room that
Lies.
disagree with that.
I have caught all 150.
I've got all 151.
Yeah, no
Oh
shit.
yeah, so 151 and 152. Did Mew count?
151.
Mew was the
He
150.
was the 151. Mewtwo was one of the 150s.
He was
He's
150.
150.
Yeah, I've beaten the original Red as well, but and I played Gold and Silver and got close, but that was literally
If you
like,
haven't
Gen 2 was the last
you
time
haven't
I
had-
followed Pokemon.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Play Sun and Moon. Both
Yeah,
excellent.
I have X, but my daughter and wife took that over before I could start it, and there's only one save file, so
Yeah, no, Sun and Moon are good. I've beaten X, beaten Black, White.
Yeah.
Black 2, White 2. So yeah, we're getting that. And, for only revealing names,
I feel like they had no idea they were making this game until they went on stage.
Metroid.
No,
Or
the
Pokemon.
Pokemon one. Like, they're like, yeah, we're totally doing a console one, because, like, he got a text message as the presentation was starting.
The guy
that was how the Pokemon one came
Well,
out.
it wasn't actually done like a live stage. They do their treehouse. So yeah, he probably got that text message sitting at his desk because the camera crew walked in the door.
Yeah. And, like, the
And said,
Metro...
hey, just tell him that we're doing.
But on a similar note, I feel like the Metroid one was thrown together by interns, like, the night before the presentation.
Yeah. Well,
I'm hype either way, but until I see something out
it's,
of it,
it's
like...
it's the fact you know you're gonna get those games.
Right, like,
you
just
know?
because of the fact that they've already tied it to Prime. Like, you have an expectation of what it's going to look and play like, but I'm interested in who's doing the development on it, because Retro
internal.
doesn't exist anymore. Not the Prime team...
No. I know who it is.
Yeah,
It's an internal group.
it's an internal team.
It's the guy that led Retro for all of those years is going to be one of the core members.
Back?
Yeah, they have him
that's
as a core
because
developer.
a lot of them quit because Nintendo abused the shit out of them.
Right. So this is a Nintendo group of new rising talent.
Okay.
Oh
with,
boy,
the-
get a bunch of noobs making a next Metroid game.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah.
It probably is.
So, but
From a
he's
creative
going-
standpoint.
but the guy who worked from Retro on the original Prime series is going to be with it. In
Right.
fact, it might not even be called Metroid Prime 4. It's basically their placeholder for their 3D Metroid games.
Right, and that's fine, but because they did use the terminology to tie it, like the expectation of...
It's in the same universe.
Right,
and
like
the
how...
same-
Well, yeah. But, like, just, like, the idea of, like, the first-person perspective and, like, the way that you interact with the world, your weapons and that.
Yeah.
Like, take Prime 3 and build from there. Like, it had a lot of good concepts and it had a lot of good execution, even despite, the general jankiness of motion controls at the time. I feel like that was one of the few that did it really well.
I would personally, if they're going to have motion controls, they have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, well, I don't mean
I'd
they need to do...
like to have the option to turn that off.
Yeah, I don't mean particularly that they need to use the motion controls, because again, some of it was weird. Like, some of it was really cool, like using like the flick on the
Yeah.
nunchuck to throw your grapple beam was a really cool idea.
They're great gimmicks, but personally,
You can still do that with the Switch.
Yes, you could,
that's
and
what I
that's what
said.
he brought up is like that's still an option here, but I don't think it's necessary. I think they should kind of go back to 2's scheme
yeah.
of sticking with using the Joy-Con for the
Fortunately,
majority of it.
I think we're going to have a long time to be.
Oh,
able to play
yeah,
this
like,
game.
I don't expect it till 2018, 2019 at the earliest.
But and another quick breeze would be Rocket League. Nintendo's getting
That
Rocket
makes
League.
sense.
That
And,
makes
like,
sense.
it is a brilliant fit for the Switch.
Yeah, it's one of those games where let's port it over real quick, make it nice and easy, throw a couple Mario cars in there, and
Yeah, and cross-platform.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
Like,
looking
on
forward
the
to that.
Switch is brilliant, because, like, the only thing the game needed to be was portable to consume the world.
Yeah, and then another Warriors game with Fire Emblem characters.
Oh, yeah, the Fire Emblem Warriors.
Yeah. So
Those games are silly.
our final two pieces of meat that we got, Zelda Breath of the Wild. We finally got to see a little bit more of the we'll see coming for that.
Yeah,
This will be a
yeah.
half-hour conversation.
Nah.
Now we can keep this pretty simple. The number one thing that I wanted to point out is difficulty done correctly.
Yes.
New encounters, new mechanics, new styles of enemies. The one big question I have with the Golden Lionel reveal is, are all going to upgrade to that, or is it more of like a single super boss somewhere in the world?
I don't know.
And I don't know, and that's
looking
really
forward to seeing
interesting.
that.
But like the tower thing
The
isn't
Trial of
just
Sword,
isn't just a series of the same room filled with slightly varied enemy combinations for 2.5 hours.
Looks like you need to make skill
Even
options.
tie-dyed.
Yeah.
It looks like, you know, every floor is a distinct and unique environment with, you know, terrain and like parts of the game world essentially like lifted into it with that really trippy, floaty shrine architecture,
Yep.
which just looks absolutely amazing. But the Bokoblin air balloons,
Yes.
like walking up and all of a sudden you just see like and like two rafts with Bokoblin archers rise up on balloons like and he just throws his axe, pops a balloon, and sends them spilling into the water.
And we can see if they even add on to that.
The
more
sound
with the
effects
hard
sell it.
mode.
Yeah, gotta give you the soda, man.
But
Yeah.
Jesus.
and
More
then
monster!
we finally got the context and a name for our holiday.
The summer,
The
the
holiday.
winter DLC.
Yes, the holiday
Yeah,
DLC.
the Ballad of the Champions.
Yes. Very good
And
name.
nothing except clip cutscenes from the game. And
We know that they're going to go more in depth into the champions.
which is good because, like we had talked about, that's literally the only weak point of that game was the champions got no characterization at all.
Yep. So we're not sure what they're going to do with it. If
Like,
they're going to
is
go back
it-
in time.
Yeah, like that would be
Forward in
interesting.
time.
Play
you know.
through the events of what happened up to the calamity.
Yeah.
Like that would be really awesome. Actually, that would be a cool route to go with it. Or it may end up being something set in the current time, like just like
So yeah.
dealing with the repercussions of it. Which is something because the game did end with Zelda saying that
Don't
something was
spoil
going.
it, man.
Well, it's not really a spoiler, but like she brings up that something was going on in Zora's domain and they should go check it out.
Yeah. So
I mean, like it's not
I'm actually not. I don't think that's going to be part of this DLC.
like
not
I
if-
think it would be interesting if it
Yeah.
literally does just continue where it left off. Like there's rebuilding to do now.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like that's maybe a contextual spoiler, but nothing really dramatic in that end. Like there's hardly anything there to spoil in the first place.
But the nice thing with Nintendo is we'll get another Nintendo Direct about that the closer that we get.
Right, I'm looking forward
When
to
does
hearing
Odyssey
more
happen?
about the
Odyssey.
Yes.
Odyssey?
October release.
Christmas
What's
game.
Odyssey?
Super Mario Odyssey?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Just
Jesus.
without the Super Mario part, like the Odyssey, like was it Abe's Odyssey? Was it
yeah,
Odyssey?
there you go.
Oddworld.
You know what I like?
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that use Odyssey in their title. That's not.
Well, this in many ways, and more ways than one, is an Odyssey.
Yeah.
Just the traveling through, the hat.
The hat, yes. A lot of emphasis on the hat. Hat in the hat.
Did you not see the?
I did see the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of it yet. Honestly,
It's out there.
like
It's happening, whether you like it or not.
well, it's no. See now, it's not a dismissal or a like, that doesn't look good. Like it looks really good. It's just I don't. It's so out of left field. I don't know how to interpret it. Like
That's how it
there's
works.
just like that moment where you're like watching it and you're like, okay, this is cool. And then like he turns into a dinosaur in like a car, and then your brain just like slowly oozes out of your ear as you try to interpret
Yes.
what you're
Well, that's
seeing.
what Rabbids did to me. I couldn't be
Did it?
Yes. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, see, like, Rabbids made a lot of sense to me. Where, in the sense, you know, of
It didn't make sense.
it didn't make
Did-
sense.
yeah.
But it's
It's
like,
not supposed to.
but it's like, that's what you expect out of Rabbids, is like, they're gonna do silly costume changes and just be generally abusable, but like, I didn't know how to interpret Mario turning into a T-Rex.
So, I got to watch some of the gameplay afterwards.
Okay, so how does that mechanic work?
basically all you do is you take your hat, and it's
Is it literally like every object in the game?
almost every object in the game.
That's really weird.
It is.
Is it used for puzzle solving,
Yes.
or is it just for like weirdness?
So part of the one demo that I watched for it was that it was the bullet bills.
right,
He took the hat, he threw it at the bullet bill, and now you're the bullet bill.
right, which I could see like that aspect of it, but like
there
how
was
is
a
like
large
becoming a
pit.
fire hydrant going to?
That might just be for fun.
And get paid. So,
Well, that was my question. Is
Might
how
have a random
intense
like
event.
is
with
it?
the bullet bill.
Might have a random event.
Yeah.
Maybe
With
Dog
the
pee on
bullet
the fire
bill.
hydrant?
mini game. Might be a mini game.
Anyway,
With the bullet bill, you had a big pit
Yeah.
that you needed to cross.
And, like that one's really obvious in a way.
So you hop onto the bullet bill and you manage to traverse the pit and get across to either the moon or the moon pieces, which are the new like the sunshine pieces in
Right, they're your collectible you're after.
right. There is another currency in the game, like coins and stuff like that, but they are specific to that specific
To the worlds
World.
themselves. Is it
it's not, and they don't call them worlds, they call them kingdoms.
okay? So one of the weird things that I saw in one of the trailers was the traditional, like Black Bowser checkpoint flag.
Yeah. So what they
Are
do,
they level based? Like,
what they do is you have.
is it a series of hub worlds?
they
and then,
co-
like, levels off of them?
It's sort of like the how Mario Sunshine does it, but you have more than one larger kingdom.
Right, which is what I was getting at. Like, each of the kingdoms is a hub world with a series of, like, Mario 64 style levels coming off of it? Or is it more like you have a hub world and you go into it and then you've got, like, a 3D world style level?
It's a 3D hub world, and there are collectibles in the 3D hub world. So it's almost like you're taking Super Mario 64, and instead of just going into paintings,
The castle itself is the world and the levels.
right? Well, no, not just a castle. Imagine the first level in Super Mario 64, where you go in and
Battlefield.
yeah, on the battlefield. Imagine, and I'll just use this as New Dang City. Donk
Right.
City, I'm sorry. You go into New Donk City, that's the battlefield. On the battlefield, there are other hub worlds that you go into, and it's just skill-based platforming.
Okay.
Um,
And then that's where, like, the checkpoints come into
That's
play
where
because then you go into a level from a
Right.
hub world. All right, so that makes sense. That's
and
actually
I would call it more of a challenge inside of the hub.
I got you. So it's like you have a hub, which leads to hubs with levels off of them.
yes.
No, there's no hub in a hub. It's just you're in the big hub world, and
Okay.
then
There's
there are
challenges sporadically placed
that you
around
go
it.
into.
Okay.
So there's
That
no,
makes sense.
yeah.
I kind of get it now, yeah. That would explain why there's things like checkpoints in what looked to be originally an open world game.
Yeah, it's
I'm
much,
like, well, how does this play? There was just like conflicting gameplay elements.
one of the cool things that I had seen that really showed the open play was in New Donk City. They climbed to the top of a skyscraper, and then it was, well, what are we going to do now? And I wonder if he's going to jump off that building. Mario leaps from the top of a skyscraper down to the road. And no.
Paste.
It's
just a red stain with a pair of shredded blue overalls.
Jumpman finally doesn't take impact damage from the higher falls.
The only time that was ever relevant was in the 3D scavenger games, 64 and
Yeah.
Sunshine. Did they do that in Galaxy? I don't remember. Did Galaxy have full damage?
I don't.
Because I know a 3D world definitely did not. That
Yeah.
was more of a platforming thing.
Yeah, 64 did in certain areas.
What?
The fall damage.
Oh, 64 absolutely had fall damage.
Yeah.
Like, it was really easy to die to falling.
Yeah.
Like, just like even landing on ground, which always seemed really weird to me for Mario.
It was kind of that Dragon Ball Z Gohan's first time falling.
Oh, the Dragon Ball Z game.
Oh, we did miss that, didn't we?
So, totally off topic, for anybody who's never played any of the Arc Axis fighting games,
This is Guilty Gear Team.
that's Arc Axis.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm well aware those are absolutely my favorite fighting games. I really liked Guilty Gear, conceptually, and like the big thing with that is it's all music based. Every character in the game is based off of a metal band. Like either implicitly or subtly. Like the main like one of the two main characters are Kai Kiski, who's named after Michael Kiske and Kai Hansen.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. So, so those games are absolutely brilliant.
From now on,
And,
he doesn't get any soda before we do this.
yeah, I gotta cut. Coffee. Anyway, so the Dragon Ball Z game, like, I just love the speed and impact of those fighting games. And I'm hopeful that it airs more towards BlazBlue's side of the combat's lasting multiple engagements, which is why I was starting to go into Guilty Gear. Is the big thing that I disliked about Guilty Gear is that matches can be over in 8 to 10 seconds very, very easily.
Yeah, because of their special moves and stuff like that.
Right, well, it's just like the power level of the characters can end each other in one solid combo.
Right.
Whereas in BlazBlue, nobody has that kind of output, and so engagements will typically last 30 to 40 seconds. And I'm hoping it airs more towards that, so you get like, and like, I love the cinematic cut-ins of like the power moves and stuff, and just that aesthetic. Ah, so good. So good.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Looking forward to that, and
Square Enix show up with anything?
yeah.
I didn't see Square Enix. I missed it. Just
They showed up with a game that I'm not going to get into. It's guess what? You can fish in Final Fantasy 15.
yes.
Yeah,
No
there's
one ever does. But
well, no, they literally, it's called, what is it called? It's like,
Monsters of the Deep.
Monsters of the Deep. It's a VR fishing game for Final Fantasy 15.
oh my god.
Yeah.
It's so silly. Like, what? This is what? Alright.
Final
Whatever.
Fantasy 15.
They really liked it, so go for it, I guess.
Super
do what
bad.
you want.
Who liked
You do you. No, Squaresoft.
They were
obviously
super
liked
excited
it.
about
Super
it?
bad.
They
Pro 15.
must have liked it.
They probably worked really hard on it, you know.
Like, they seem to have enjoyed that mechanic. They focused a lot around it from, like, their own perspective. They must have been proud of it. So, like, you guys do you.
Yeah.
Like, it's your
Yeah.
thing.
That's what they had, huh? That was a big
That's
thing.
what they had.
That was their only major
That's
reveal.
sort of
Other than
embarrassing,
that, it
really.
was just more of
And
what we knew
last
we were
thing that I did
expecting.
forget on was Capcom showed up and finally gave, well, not finally, but they gave us a nice little
Teaser?
teaser demo for
Infinite, right?
yes, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Sigma
Very
and
nice.
Ultron team up to
Oh
take
my
over the
God.
universe.
I can't wait for that game. It's not a very long demo. It's like 10-15 minutes.
Sigma's the main villain of Mega Man X, for anybody who doesn't remember why Sigma is important.
If they are watching this program, I would take the benefit that they know who Sigma is.
Just in case.
But yeah, very quick. A lot of loading screens, which I'm not very fond of.
If it's early in development, that might
Yeah.
get smoothed.
I mean, how they pace it is kind of weird. I mean, it is a fighting game.
There's a lot. It's not
Fighting game
smooth.
storyline.
It's not like the last Mortal Kombat, where like the transition from cinematic to fighting is really clean and smooth. Like there's an obvious break where it's
Now this is Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero level of you get a cutscene and then a loading screen, and then you get the intro to the battle scene and then a loading screen, and then you start playing the game.
Yeah, they need to fix that.
Hopefully they fix that a bit. I do like that you can skip through the cutscenes fairly easily. Doing it a second playthrough, trying to see. I'm not gonna spoil anything. Definitely look at that demo but there is a
Splitting paths.
no. I mean, it's a very short demo. They're
Okay.
not going into anything in depth like that, but they do show off that this is Sigma Ultra has their plan. They go in, their combined body, they're infecting people.
Yeah.
Starts off
Both
on
of them do like the
Asgard.
multi-body computer virus theme.
Yeah.
So, like, that's pretty interesting that they would.
I was hoping to see Zero at the end of it. I kept sitting at the edge.
Wasn't he in it?
He's in the game, but he wasn't in the demo.
Okay.
I mean, I was on the
I thought he
edge.
was in the trailer.
I was on the edge of my seat.
He
There's
is.
a point in the demo where I'm sitting like, come on,
Are they
this,
gonna play him?
this is it. This is the character
it'd be
I
the
want in
first
this
time-
game.
We're gonna make you buy the game to play him.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely will be doing
It's
that.
the first time.
Is that a $60 game?
Yeah.
It is a $6 game,
Yeah,
and
it's a
$60+ game because they
See,
did.
fighting,
they
games,
advertise-
fighting games don't do it for me. I just there's no depth.
This is my one series that I will buy.
DC Injustice 2. It's a good fighting game if you like fighting
Well, that's
games.
something that
It's a more
Arc
fun
Access does really well. Is like BlazBlue has a good story campaign mode where you actually like some of the things you do in the fights and the cutscenes between fights change the story. Like it's a choose your own adventure type thing, and like what characters you play as give you different routes through the game and change like which characters you transition to. It's unique in its
Yeah.
execution.
MVC.
Do you want to
for
talk
me.
about Call of Duty at
They
all?
do no.
No.
They
F Call of Duty.
Nobody cares.
Nobody
Call of
cares
Duty.
about your nonsense.
It's brown and there's guns. Good.
Yeah.
It's a World at War rehash. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So, just kind of end, and I'm going to end with Marvel vs. Capcom. What they did right, and what I think a lot of other developers need to do is, instead of sitting there, and I've seen the displays of this is what the collector's edition, all that crap is, and if you're going to go and you're going to try to push out your collector's editions and giving the skins and all that other BS that all the companies do, if you put it at the end of a demo, just like they used to do with the old PlayStation demos and all the demos that were on discs, you gave me value, I'll sit there and I'll look at your spiel. It's like doing one of those timeshare things where you're sitting
You
at...
gotta sit through a conference to get your free hotel room.
Just think
Well-
about South Park. There was an episode. Where they did
Yeah,
that.
where they give you, it's like, you need to sit here for an hour. It ends up actually being 3.
Yep, they did.
But you gave me an entire week's vacation for like $400 at a place that would have cost me $3,000. I'll live with it. So,
I'll take 3 hours
again,
of abuse.
developers keep doing something like that. So, you have my 4-sided dice.
This thing?
Yeah, that thing right there. Normally at the end of a normal PvP Gamer Dad podcast, I use my traditional sign-off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to allow one of you to sign us off, and if there's anything
man.
that you would like to interject, anything that Mark here said that offended you or you didn't agree with, and
Which
didn't
one?
quite have
Which
a chance
one?
to get a word in edgewise.
That one.
Sorry.
We will try not to give him so much soda.
I'm-
That was my bad.
I get really hyper. The coffee just does it to
It's the
me.
damn Zelda
So-
games.
We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whoever gets it,
Got a whole
Yeah.
bunch of 4.
play us out, tell us your opinion.
Oh god.
Is that your sign off?
I don't know.
Oh god! Oh god, help me!
What the hell do I do with this? So I have to sign us out?
Yep. So for your first point,
Give it the tweak.
Okay.
so think of your sign off. Think of what you might want to dispute. In the meantime,
Wow, I want to just pull this out of my ass? I gotta think of something?
Well, I'm gonna give you a
Put me on
second
the spot? Oh my
because
god.
before
King
we
of the podcast.
before we go, I do want to let everybody know, who we are. We are Project Video Game Podcast. As Mark had once pointed out, PvP.
It's almost like we did it on purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
It's slightly intentional. We are a group of gamers that get together once a week. We play games like we stream Overwatch.
We stream the shit out of Overwatch.
We do. We're going to be putting together some retro series. Mark's going to be working on a retrospective. But yeah, we're just a group of guys and a gal that get together, talk about gaming, and play, and hopefully try to keep you guys entertained for long enough. Go ahead, Mark.
Oh,
Anything you disagree with that was said today? Anything you want to reiterate or talk about?
I could make you guys talk about Call of Duty.
You wouldn't do that, Jones. You wouldn't dare.
Anybody want to talk about Destiny 2 for a while?
What's that?
Destiny 2? Anybody interested?
We're reiterating. Don't take that much advantage of it.
See? No.
Like 5 seconds. Anything you
Okay.
want to specifically point out? Do you want to say something about Destiny? real quick?
Half-Life 3 will happen one day at E3.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
One day.
We can't.
Somebody will buy it.
The power of
Somebody
the
will
dice.
buy that
The
right.
power of the king. You're right. You're right.
Somebody's
The
gonna
king
buy-
says Half-Life 3 is coming.
Someone's going to buy the
Does
rights
that
for
work
thing.
retroactively?
And then go ahead and sign us off.
I don't know how. I'm not a host. I just
show up and
fuck
fuck off.
Yeah, I just come up here to shoot the shit, man.
I don't know.
I don't have any good catchphrases.
I'm just here for the games.
How about
Yeah. What?
Don't look at me. I'm just here for the games.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm just here for the games.